Live. Good evening. Good evening. How you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Life and Basketball. And here on this show is where we talk about how both the game of basketball as well as life are synergistic and how they play so much into each other. And again, what we do on this show is we bring on athletes, former athletes, coaches, former coaches, as well as those people that have been instrumental to the game of basketball. And we let them share their story of how a little orange ball has helped change and oftentimes save their lives. And they do the same thing now from a teaching standpoint. That what they do. Show and use the little orange ball that we call a basketball to be able to help change and or save individuals' lives. So the show is being brought to you by Bless the Ball Skill Development Academy, where we help parents of unrecruited or under-recruited student athletes save money on college by helping their athlete find the right program to get a scholarship from. And as well, the show is being brought to you by Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball. This is my first book. This is basically like my baby here. And the show was birthed from this book, right? The show is birthed from this book. And everything that we'll talk about today, I make points to it in this book, meaning taking basketball principles and being able to apply them to real life situations. And so this has been monumental in my life, how I understood the game, how I understand life much better. And the people that I bring onto the show teach, exemplify this standard as well. So tonight I am pleased and I'm proud to bring on this special guest tonight. This individual was really one that I was able to call on, once I moved from youth basketball and recreational basketball to the school level, on the high school level. This person was always there for me. I mean, we talked basketball so many hours, so many days, so many years. And he just helped in my personal development with understanding the ropes of high school basketball, especially here in Chicago. What's needed, what's necessary. And so this gentleman is very, very instrumental to me in my career. He's a basketball wizard, some, may say, just with the things that he knows and the way that he applies, again, those same strategies to be able to push his athletes to 130, 140% each and every time they step on the court. This individual is a fantastic businessman, and he is the founder and owner of Old Gold Basketball. And so tonight we're going to dispel all of the myths and or rumors about AAU basketball, and we're going to hear it from somebody that's established and that has had tremendous success for decades in this thing called AAU basketball, right? There's so many bad programs that's out here. And so many people not doing it the right way. So I'm pleased to bring my buddy, my friend, a basketball genius, what I'll call him, right? I always brag on the people that I bring on. So I would like to present to some and introduce to most my man, my buddy, Coach Antonio Wiltz. Tom, how you doing, bro?
What's up, Bailey? Hey, man, if I ever run for office, I'm going to hire you as a campaign manager. You know that, right?
Hey, man, I get that a lot. But, man, hey, like I say, I love the people that I bring on. And so if anybody going to brag on them, it might as well be me, man. But so how you doing there, man?
Man, I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Just kind of anxious to get back to basketball, but, I'm still going to be patient because I want to do it safely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's first and foremost. And, we'll, definitely talk about that as well. But for the people that don't know, Tone, for those that don't know who Antonio Wiltz, the man, is, can you just give us a brief overview of who the man Antonio Wiltz is?
Oh man, I'm a simple guy that just love basketball. I started, basketball, maybe 20, 25 years ago coaching, and it's just something that how you be thinking, what do I really want to push into my life?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden something pops up and you really find out you got a real good passion for it. And that's how basketball was with me. I grew up, when I was young playing baseball. I was really good at baseball over in South Shore.
Mm.
We played with Fatty and all those big Bill and all them guys. We been to All-Star games going out there. So, I was a real baseball stud, in grammar school, and kind of like the first year of high school and stuff until I started jacking up my grades. And my mother said, I was trying to play baseball and run track. She's like, man, you got to slow down and choose one of them. Of course,
Right.
I'm probably better at baseball, but all my friends on the track team. So you know what my dumb self chose. But it was a great time on the track team. I ran a half mile, and I was one of the few black pole vaulters in Chicago.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, me and my buddy Doug. It started off, we was doing it, to get points at the at the track meets and stuff, because a lot of schools didn't have a pole vaulter.
Right.
So, we were young. Well, our nemesis was always Lane Tech, so we had to get in all the field events. So coach said, "Hey man, y'all want to try this?" Back then I was crazy. I'd try anything. So,
hey, I never knew that, Tone. I never knew that, man. This is gonna be an amazing interview already. So you said pole vault and what else?
The half mile. I ran a half mile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was my main race, but the pole vault, we did it, to get the points and stuff. But I became okay at it. Doug was a little bit better because he's a little bit crazy. I got up to a certain height. I was like, no, it's too much. Just stick might break.
Hey, yeah, that is interesting, but that explains so much more about you too, man. So let's get into it, man. And let's go back for a minute, for those that may not know. So you were born in Mississippi.
Tylertown, Mississippi, man. Tylertown, Mississippi. If you ain't from down there, you ain't heard of
it. So now that's close to what big city?
Man, it ain't close to no big city, man. Like it's somewhere between Jackson and New Orleans and stuff. It's about it's close to the border of New Orleans and stuff. Like to get there, you got to get off the highway, then get off on a little smaller highway, then get on a road, then you get off that and get on a smaller road. Then you back where my family live at. Back.
Oh, okay. So tell me, and to my understanding, you all moved up this way, after, a few years, but how did growing up, even in that small town of Mississippi where, as you say, the back roads got to get off on certain, e-ways to be able to find it. How did that really mold the foundation of Antonio Wiltz?
Well, one thing has taught me to respect elders. Living in our country, everybody's much friendlier and stuff. But you had to respect people. Like the next house might be like what we would consider two or three blocks down.
Right.
So you walking past on that road, my grandmama sitting out there on that porch, and you don't speak. They tell you, ain't you so and so, son? You don't see me sitting up here.
Right. Hey,
how you doing, Miss Bradley and stuff? Just talk. The manners and stuff like that. And I've never got rid of that, man. Just the ability, you got to speak to people, be nice to people, and even when they're not good to you, you try to be good to them because that's just your reward will come. God will give you a reward, he'll come. Do I always do that? No, but I mean, I try to the best of my ability to just do as good as I can by people.
Right. Yeah, that make a lot of sense because and I've been, again, as you said, thinking because one of my pet peeves is if I speak and somebody don't acknowledge me, like, oh, I can't stand that. Like, hey, wave, nod, you can give me the finger, just acknowledge, but I can recall, like if we're anywhere and, especially if you come in somebody else's presence, you've always been that type of person, to speak, and it's more of a how you doing, you know what I'm saying? It ain't really a what up, especially when it comes to those people that's a little bit older than us. So, I mean, again, it's making more sense now, but from growing up early on, you learn that, and that respect level, goes a long, long way, and so you all move up here to
and then other thing, just being out in the country, man, when you get older,
yeah,
and you start to look back at your life in the country, guys, damn, we was poor. You didn't know because you with your cousins, and our whole family lived on the thing. So we're always out there, eating stuff. We didn't realize we were poor, but then as I look back on, I'm realizing some of the things like having to heat up the water and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize that time you get older that like, dang, we really was poor and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, to that point, like you say, if it's heating up the water, or hell, if you had to go to the well to get the water, or I mean, whatever it might be, walk into the store, those distances, but it teaches the value of being a hard worker, and I think I might talk about this on every show. There's a difference between working hard and being a hard worker. Like when it's ingrained in you, no matter what you do, like you putting your all into it, as opposed to, as basketball coaches, we call it like fake hustle, or like matador defense, where you look like, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna work hard because they looking, but that's not really in your makeup, really in your DNA. So that, again, to just understand the foundation of who you are as a person, it really, really makes so much sense. So like, how did life change when now you move up to the big city? You guys moved.
It's tough, because I was so young when we moved up here. I was like 5 or 6 and stuff. So I mean, even then, what I would go back down and spend the whole summer with my grandma those first 4 or 5 years until I got into baseball at around 10. And then that's when I started not going down there the whole summer. But it's the same thing, man. Single mom, so you're struggling a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to just do right, get good grades, and take the stress off mom.
Okay. Now, you talked about how, and I did know this. You were a baseball player. I didn't really know about the track team, but at an early age, you understood the term student athlete. Well, if you didn't understand it, your mama understood it. Like, you not gonna play something if you don't have the grades. So, can you talk about like how her making that comment to you really kind of like, did it shape your focus, a little better, or like, was it okay, well, I'm gonna just figure this grade thing out as I figure it out?
To be honest, it wasn't even so much about me not realizing the grades. Mom's always, she's struggling being a single mother. So I always, working. I was trying to work, go to school, and, do sports. I was just working enough hours to keep money in my pocket so that I didn't have to ask her for anything. Money and stuff like that, just so that I didn't have to ask her for nothing. And then, if I was at another school, I would have, I'd have probably still got all A's and B's, but I was at Whitney Young. Yeah, Whitney Young, you got to do some work there.
Right.
You got to do some real work, man. So, it was rough, but I still managed a decent GPA and stuff. So stuff always came easy to me. I was always pretty smart, coming out. So, I was able to get by. I was able to get by with even just working, I mean, I worked at McDonald's on 35th and, State, so, man, I mean, when you're in high school working there, they want you to close up and all that type stuff. And I'm closing up, man, getting out of there 12:31, then have to take the bus from the south side to, Whitney Young and be gone by 6:15 and stuff. So, that's one of my faults sometimes as a coach, just having done all that and still being on time for school every day, never missing school. So I have these kids give you these lame excuses. You be sitting there like thinking, I know it's a new age and a new day, but man, I didn't done much worse than that.
Right. Now, you know what? I thought that the grade issue was kind of in elementary school because and my next question was going to be what changed, because I know you went to Whitney Young, and at that time, I don't know how it is now, but at that time you really had to take an entrance exam to get into Whitney Young,
what happened was actually I went in there in the 7th, 8th grade program, as they call it and stuff. I went to classical school, and most of the kids from our school went to either Whitney Young's academic program or Kenwood's academic program.
Okay.
Those were two magnet schools at the time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And to your point, so you work and then you getting off late. Now you got to leave, the low end to go back, kind of mid south side, wherever. But at that time, Whitney Young started at what, 7:25? What time they start?
No, we started at like 8 o'clock. But you be there to, I was trying to get there to get me my little free donuts and milk in the morning. So I was trying to get there by 7:45. Those were the best donuts in the world. Man, them little donuts, they was good, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Every morning in a chocolate milk, and I was good.
Old school donuts, yeah, baby, the donuts and milk. So, you ran track, you did the field events, but what was life like going to Whitney Young? Like, was it a lot of pressure? Because it was my wife went to Whitney Young, I got, other close friends that, went to Whitney Young. A lot of her friends went to Whitney Young, and, she always talk about, other than being able to go off campus for lunch, but it was like, it was a real challenging academic school. So like, can you, talk about just, like, was it pressure going to Whitney Young, or, from an academic standpoint, or what?
From the academic standpoint, you always have to try to keep up, man. The curriculum there is hard, to be honest. That's why, kids from there, if you can maintain there, you're gonna be fine, because the curriculum is so high, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. The teachers are demanding, you gotta do the work, you gotta study for the stuff. So it was tough going there and then playing sports, but it was a lot better than people thought. People just thought of, little nerdy kid. No, we had some people there that was, we had some smart thugs at the time and stuff. We had a few smart thugs and stuff in there too and stuff, So
okay,
it was a fun time. Whitney Young was a fun time and stuff. I'll always, outside, I always have love for Whitney Young and stuff. When I go there, I tell Slaughter that all the time, man. Hey, treat your Dolphins right,
Right. Yeah, no,
about 30, man.
It's kind of like a family affair, and I guess, certain schools, especially in CPS, have just that type of tradition, to where, if you're from there and you see somebody else from there, just kind of love, so now you leave Whitney Young and you go down to Bradley. Now, I know at that particular time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Whitney Young was highly African-American at that point. Now you leave.
Yeah, much more than it is now. We still had a lot of Asians, a lot of white people. It was pretty mixed, pretty diverse there. Pretty diverse.
So now you leave there and now go to Bradley. How was that transition? And on this show we got parents of student athletes and coaches. But even just even not playing basketball, but as a student athlete, but how was that transition going from high school to college, you know, like personally, like what was that like? You know, was it, you know, I mean, because certain people get to college and they lose their mind because, you know, they got freedom, or they get to college and they just can't deal with it because of the freedom. So like, how did you deal with that independence in that transition from high school to college?
Well, I was always pretty responsible and stuff, so I mean that wasn't a big deal. Like I said, I took, from the time I was 8 or 9, I took the bus all around Chicago and stuff, getting where I was supposed to go. I had baseball practice, like I said. My mom was working. She like, hey, it's 30 cents on the table. Get you a transfer. You know what I'm saying? So I got around Chicago. I was pretty, like I said, I'm working. So I'm self-dependent by then. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Going off college wasn't, a big thing and stuff. I went Bradley is, far enough away from home that mom just can't pop up on you, but it's close enough that if you need to get home to see your mom or something like that, then you can get there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't a big adjustment for me because, like I said, I was used to the self-dependent stuff.
Okay. So and I, know, especially since we're on the college portion now of, your timeline, you are a member of, Alpha Phi Alpha. For those that know that, you're a proud member. Like, how did becoming part of that organization like help mold you into what we see now as a person?
Well, first of all, it was tough.
Okay.
We did it. It was back when, pledging was still all out in the open,
Right.
running around, the campus and all that. Probably the worst week of my life was spring break.
Oh.
I was pledging online, and everybody else gone except us, a couple sweethearts, and the brothers down there. So,
right.
They ain't got nothing to do for a whole week.
Right.
So we, of course, we the entertainment for the whole week. Hey, get over here.
Yeah. Okay.
We run over there. Hey, turn the TV on. You made us run 4 blocks to turn the TV on? Oh.
Okay.
So, but it was cool. But it taught me some brotherhood. It's taught me about relying on people. It taught me, how to start giving back. Because we would have community service projects down there, and I'd never done anything like that before and stuff. And we start just showing that, hey, no matter how, but you might not think you're in a great position, but it's always somebody in a worse position, and we can help them out. So
right.
We didn't have like a great amount of money. We would still do food drives and stuff to take down to the pantries and stuff like that, and be in the front of blood drives and stuff. So it just taught me how to give back to the communities and to the neighborhood. Like I said, the brotherhood part of it. I mean, to this day, I mean, we just got off a Zoom call last night, and I mean, the comedy on that was ridiculous. I mean, when you become so close with those guys that they know everything about you, you know everything about them and their families and all that, and it's just an extended family.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. So now, at what point did you know? You said you've been doing this with coaching 20, 25 years. At what point did you know that that's what you wanted to do? Like, walk us down that. What happened?
Well, actually, I mean, when I got into college, anybody that's been in Peoria know it's not much to do but bowl and hoop. Bowl and hoop. So, I mean, it's not a whole lot to do in Peoria. So, I just became a gym rat, man. I mean, we be in there all day, every day. I mean, go to class, go to the gym. And so we we had an intramural squad, and I mean, we had some. I mean, people would think intramurals in college. I mean, but you had a lot of guys like we had a couple buddies that played for St. Rita that didn't go on to play college ball, but they were good enough to play at a smaller school and stuff. So you had a lot of guys in there that could actually play in those intramurals, so they became like highly competitive. Then the other thing is just playing rec ball up there. I mean, it just was so intense. You know, I mean, you had to make a basket. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't go. Now you had to make a basket and stuff. So yeah, you know, sometimes we start going up there at lunch, and you know, guys like Bobby Humble, Sergio McClain, and all them guys, they were hooping lunch. They'd only have like an hour and a half to hoop, so games were quick and all that, no fouls called and all that. You know, Big Mike Robinson and stuff. You talking about some studs, some players. So I mean, I think probably that was the best sets of or that I've been back to Chicago a long time and played at a lot of places. But the best hooping was in that Peoria Hostler Hall gym, man.
Wow.
You'd have Howard Nathan, them, they'd come up there, Frankie Williams, all them, you know, I mean, all the Peoria guys that had game would be up there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And that, and you know, for those that don't know, like Tom can still shoot that thing, you know, and you know, if you make him mad, he ain't gonna pass it either. You know, if
hey, right now I just set some real good screens.
Oh, okay.
I give me a shooter or a little fast guy on the team, set some real good screens. Hey man, that's illegal. Hey man, look, man, Joe Kim Noah do it all the time.
Hey, yeah, man. Basketball is definitely a contact sport. So where our paths crossed and met, you know, was actually at Hyde Park, and you know, you were there, you know, from the blue to the red, like, and you know, you were instrumental with me. You know, you was coaching the Far South, and you know, I was coaching the freshmen. And I always tell this story, you know, that one day I called you out to practice. I was like, Tone, I can't do this no more, man. I'm practicing on a little bent rim, the side rim, and you know, Far South at one end, varsity on another end, and you know, we can't get in the girls' gym, and you know, people don't really understand the time that goes into even being able to run a practice in some of these schools, you know, because so much going on or limited access. You know, but at that point, you know, you told me, like, Bailey, man, it's gonna be good. You know, you was like, don't worry about it. You said, but you got to understand the varsity is the most important program, you know, or the most important team of the whole program. And that opened my eyes that day to, you know, like, okay, I understand what makes sense and what really matters. My job is to help them get better. So when they come to you or then go on to, you know, Sales and Newsome on the varsity level. But like, so to that point, you know, you were, even though you were the sophomore coach, you were always on those varsity players about making sure that they were doing the right thing. So like, can you talk about, you know, just, you know, the time at Hyde Park and spent with those guys and being able to move up a whole level, you know, because when I got there, they, you know, was already at the red. So like, can you talk about the work that needed to be put in to even be to get to that next level?
Oh yeah, I mean we worked hard with those guys. You know, Romel and all. We had a good group of guys that really wanted to get better. Stefan and all those guys came in and they were hungry, thirsty. They want to kill everybody. Most of those guys like Stefan and Wayne and Marvin Lee, those guys were guys that was like, okay, we could have went to the Simeons, we could have went to the Winyum Morton Park. We want to come here. They were thirsty to make a name for themselves. They were real thirsty to make a name for themselves. So they were highly self-motivated. They were highly self-motivated. You didn't have to do a lot to motivate them at all. You didn't have to. And they were athletic. So, you know, when we started talking about running in practice and all that, they wasn't, you know, all crying about that because, you know they were all athletic anyway. They were, hey, let's get this running over so they can let us get back to hooping and stuff.
Right. Okay.
But it was a big difference. The competition level definitely went up once we went to the red and stuff. So now you know, facing these good teams and stuff. So now every day you gotta prepare, you know. I think, you know, I was new in the game, and Newsome and Charlie, they were relatively new in the game and stuff. So I thought we did a good job. But if we had got that same group 6 or 7 years later, when we had some more experience, we probably would have went a lot further with that group and stuff. Yeah. You know, as a young coach, you know, you learn a lot of things through trial and error and stuff. You know, young coach. I study some of the better coaches, the successful ones, and you just sit back and say, why are they winning? What are they doing? That's helping them win and stuff. So I'm a student of the game like that. Like I said, learning always came pretty easy to me. So I sit there and study. Hey, I watch a Redmond, a Chris Head, those kind of guys is doing it effectively and see what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Do you take all of it? No, but you take some that you can mold into what you're doing and stuff. So I really think that we did a good job with those guys, and we pushed them all the way. I mean, we were a game away from getting to the city championship with that group.
Yeah. Now, you just said something, Tone, and I don't want it to fly by people, being a student of the game, but you studied successful people. You didn't just say, okay, I'm being a student of the game. I'm gonna, pick up a book, or I'm gonna just turn on any type of video. It seems as though you intentionally, paid attention to certain people. But with that, anybody that knows you, or for the people that don't know you, because this show, will reach, nationwide and beyond. But you have built up strong relationships with coaches. And I think in order to be a good student of the game, you have to have some type of relationship to have them open to be able to talk to you. So, like, can you talk about, because you probably know every, coach probably, in the city, damn near in the state. But like, can you talk about just the importance of having those good relationships so that people feel comfortable talking to you and don't feel threatened that, man, if I tell Tone something, he's going to steal it or take it, so can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, one of the things, man, people get this misconception about they creating something real new. Basketball is the same, man. Everybody do almost the same thing, just different variations of it, or they got a little twist here, twist there, but a lot of the stuff is the same. So, I've been fortunate to have guys, that when I ask some questions, or have questions that they're open to answer. Like Mr. Redmond was a great source of information. I remember sitting at games with him and just sitting there talking and asking, well, what would you do in this situation? And just sitting there listening to some of the experience come out of these guys. You just soak it up and you absorb it and you try to get better. Anybody that says they're finished as a coach, you're pretty much finished because you're not trying to learn anymore. So I know it's a lot of things that I know and have forgotten, but then I'm still always trying to learn, pick up stuff. I got young AAU coaches that with their practice they do something. I'm like, man, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start incorporating that. So you can learn from the youngest guys, but you can't stop learning. But if you have good relationships with people, like I say, you can have those conversations and stuff, but when you start, dogging each other out and stuff like that, then it becomes, a combative situation. And, I think we've had periods in CPS where, we did have a lot of coaches at odds with each other and stuff, but I think it's a lot better now. And I've tried not to ever contribute to that. Have I been always successful at that? No, but I've tried to contribute to that. And right now, at my stage in the game, I'm not going to contribute to any negativity and stuff. So, we got some really good young coaches out there now. Keon over at Longwood, you got Josh Anderson. You got a lot of good young coaches out there now. And, a couple ask me stuff, and man, I'm more than happy to share what I know and stuff. You keep picking these other coaches' brains and stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's big, and oftentimes. I think that we're probably in the middle because, it's still coaches in the game that's more experienced and older than us. But, at some point we had those older people to be able to teach us, and what I've never liked is, I understand, you got to earn your stripes, but I've never liked for the older person, to feel like, man, you got to figure it out on your own because I ain't going to tell you, it's like, well, somebody probably helped you too, so we have to be willing to be able to go back and be able to help those younger coaches, so that they can get it right, because we really love basketball. we want to preserve, the game that we love, with that. So, I mean, over at Hyde Park, and I mean, we had a pretty decent run, and what I found out later on, was that a lot of those guys had played for you once the season was over. And I really didn't. When I first got to Hyde Park, I really didn't know nothing about AAU, none of that. I know, I think I came over with you for a couple of days, but the wife, like, look, you spent 3-4 months, them long nights, come on, I need some time. At that time, my daughter was, born, and with those things, but I didn't necessarily know. And you kind of, taught me some of those things about just being able to, keep the guys playing. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you wind up leaving, and you left, and that, by default bumped me up to, the far south coach. And at that period of time you had left, and I think went over to I think Morgan Park for a minute, but then you found your way, I think what you're probably most known for, over with Coach Pick and Larry and those guys over at CVS. And
yeah, see, it was just a matter of time because Pick was waiting on Coach Russ to retire and stuff.
Okay.
And, Coach Russ, Pick, me and Pick, we've been hanging out since we were 15 years old, man. So,
okay.
So basically, I knew once he got the job, I was coming over there to be his, assistant and stuff.
Right.
And,
Pick was on the staff with Russ, right?
Pick was on the staff with Russ, but once, he was gonna get it once, Russ left.
Yep.
We've been talking about that. So when he did take over, I came over, and I thought we had some really good runs over at CVS. Matter of fact, me and you had some great battles when you were still out.
Yeah, man, and I was gonna say that at Hyde Park, man, we hated to see Russ and them come in because Russ, big in stature and that deep voice, and they're gonna play hard. And once Pick, once Chris Pickett picked it up, it was the same way. And I, Pick don't have the same demeanor like that people may know as Russ, but stern still, and to bring you on and then Larry on and I can't think of the name of him, and we go to church together. What's my man named Tone, the freshman coach, the one that was that's a King Key with Coach Nye.
What's you talking about? Coach Jenkins?
Coach Jenkins. Yep. And the one thing that you all did was like instilled the fundamentals, and instilled the basics from the bottom level all the way up. Can you talk about the importance of skill development? Like, because I like your motto, in your head, people that know you, man, Tone them, they gonna play fast, they gonna press and trap you, but that all goes back to fundamentals. Like, so can you just talk about the importance to you of skill development?
Well, basically, as a lower level coach, your main thing should be, trying to get guys better, for the varsity, So, like you said, the ultimate goal is to be good on varsity.
Yeah.
And I've always said I'd rather have an athlete that plays hard and is not a skill in comparison with a skill guy that doesn't play hard. Because you can basically get that athletic guy to start becoming more skilled, but it's hard to teach guys to play hard. It's hard to teach guys to play hard. Now, if you got a skilled guy that can put the ball in the hole and you put him around a bunch of dogs, that works out too, because, he'll feed off their energy and stuff, but, he has that skill level that you need. And
right.
We've had guys like that came in very skilled and didn't play hard at first, but, after you putting them around so many guys work hard and all that, it rubs off, and a mannerism on coach. Just coaching with Coach Pickett, I mean, he was just one of the best guys at preparation as far as, you didn't have to do a lot of whole different stuff when it came to last minute adjustments because we had all that, we had practiced all that. And, as far as breaking down film, he watched film, and it's been times that I've had like not to concentrate as much on the sophomore team because he's watching a set of film and I'm watching a set of film on their varsity. And, we're trying to get this varsity game won and stuff. And, I'm like, hey, the sophomore game will take care of itself for the most part. I mean, I watch film on sophomores, but not nearly as much as I watch for the varsity, helping out with the varsity stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what or how Pick do now, but he was always good at coaching what he had. You get some coaches, they gonna pull from the freshmen, they gonna pull from the sophomores, and there's nothing wrong with that if those guys are ready. But again, I think that goes back to the skill development. Those juniors and seniors, you may have had a sprinkle of sophomore here and there, but throughout that time, just being able to develop the guys that were supposed to be on the varsity level. I think that you all did a great job of that, and it made the other levels stronger, because it had guys playing at their normal level. I mean, am I kind of hitting it?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Me and him, we would sit down and talk about, hey, man, I say, hey, man, are any of these sophomores you think you're going to need up there?
Okay.
And he'll be like, hey, I want, I think I'm going to need so-and-so, so-and-so. Take them. Forget all the up and down stuff. Just take them.
Yeah.
I want them focused and locked in on that. A lot of times you get to the point with the up and down where, you get guys that play up. And then once they come down to play with the sophomores, they don't have that same enthusiasm. They don't have that same dog. And then sometimes they even, kind of look down on it like, hey, I'm a varsity player and stuff like that. So I'd rather you just go and take them.
Yeah.
Whatever I got, then that's what I got. And we're going to work with that, and, in 21, 22 years, I think I've had two losing seasons. And, and even with that, one of the seasons that I lost, that was probably one of my favorite teams I coached because that team just didn't have like really any talent at all, but hard workers and they were some athletes. So, toward the end of the season, they just started getting better and better. And, and they looked like a good team toward the end of the season. But we dropped so many early that, our record wasn't going to be good. But it was definitely a team that most people was like, nah, I don't want to play them in the playoffs at all.
Now, Tone, when and I always tell people, man, during the heyday, what I call it, like the coaches on the sophomore level, no matter where you went in the city of Chicago, you was gonna be in for dogfight, because it was some great coaches, excuse me, at that particular time, but even during that time, you've seen the transition of, when you talk about playing up and down, can you like explain how everything transitioned? Because it used to be, I believe like you could play 2 quarters on varsity and then 4 quarters on sophomore, and then it was okay. You can split them up however you want to split up.
It was always like 6 quarters. You could divide them however you wanted, and it's supposed to be, if you played this many quarters in varsity, you want, man, people didn't really keep up with that, man. I can't play 8 quarters. So you don't really care because you feel like if this dude play 8 quarters and he's still effective, then shame on us.
Then right. Then let him play. So now, how is that rule now? It's
the same rule. It's the same rule. So
okay.
I don't even know if they count the hours anymore. But it's pretty much the same thing. If it's changed, it's very low variation in it. But I mean, it's helpful for guys that are sophomore players that need to get a little bit of varsity time.
Yeah.
But it's not good for its varsity players that's going down to play just to win.
Right.
I've never been a big proponent of that. But if you're a far south player that is gonna play some varsity minutes, then it's a good thing. It helps you develop and stuff like that. If you're a varsity player, man, that that's playing most of the varsity game, you know, what's the point of going back down and play Farso?
Right. Absolutely. Now, Tone, you know, we kind of mirror one another, you know, in terms of kind of our style of coaching. You know, I mean, we kind of ran, you know, some of the same plays, you know, because we, you know, kind of came from the same system, and then, you know, kind of, you know, tweaked it. But, you know, we had some of the same mannerisms. Like, you know, the two people that was always difficult for me to coach against was you, and you know, you know, I would be remiss to, you know, have this show with you and not mention Coach Sanders. You know, God rest his soul. You know, but I mean, those were, you know, you all were two guys that it was like, you know, we damn near doing the same thing. And no matter, you know, if we playing Hales and I got Sanders, I'm like, I know I'm in for a dogfight. We playing CVS, and you know I got Tone. You know, I know I'm in for a dogfight. And the crazy thing about it is that we used to talk, you know, like every morning, and you know, even on game days, you know, but it would be like, you know, in the afternoon, be like, man, I talk to you in the morning, because you know, I don't know if I'm being to talk to you after this game is over. And you know, the one time that I cried after a basketball game, I always tell my players, like, don't cry after the game is over, man. The last game of the season, I don't want to see nobody crying, because you should have did what you were supposed to do, not to lose that last game. But we came over to CVS, man, one year, and you know, and it might have been my last year at Hyde Park, but man, that game went into 3 overtimes, and that was the most emotionally like draining basketball game that I've ever played in and I've ever coached in my entire life. And to the point where the varsity players and the varsity coaches was on the sideline hollering like ESPN Instant Classic, because when they just came out with that. Do you recall anything about that game, man? Because you know, I didn't know after the game, after you know, I went in the locker room and like my emotions were so built up, and you know, I kept my face with my team, but when I got in the car, like I just let it out. I got home and saw my wife, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And like I was just like, I'm emotionally drained. Like you pulled everything out of me that night. Like what do you remember about that game, man?
Well, first of all, you know, I want to touch on Coach Sanders because he's one of the great basketball minds I've ever been around. You know, I just picked up so much stuff off of him. You know, and you know, even to this day, man, I was one of those guys that like, man, you know, you get some suspension. Suspension. We was talking one day, coach was like, man, you know, he's talking about, he's like, man, we got to find other ways to punish these guys other than just suspending them.
Yeah.
So talk long about that and stuff. And then I started realizing, yeah, you know, it is a lot of other things we can do than just suspend them and stuff. But, you know, just his basketball understanding, certain things about breaking down the game, you know, how much he was a student of the game, it pushed me to be better. You know, just being around him. He coached AAU with me during the summer. And just being around him pushed me to be better as a man, as a coach. So, man, you know, I was totally devastated and still am devastated. When we're down in Florida and I walk through, I walk through the parking lot down there at ESPN, I automatically think about him because, you know, he had some real crazy conversations walking through that parking lot, and it just sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
But to your point to that game, the most thing I remember about that is when Turtle hit the shot to send us into the third overtime. His daddy was on the top bleacher. Up, down, and red on the court. That's my boy. That's my boy. I'm like, man, that's a game going on on the court. But one of the things is, and you know, just in talking to some of these referees, you know, they don't even like doing games like that because, you know, when you start talking about Red South, you know, Southmore games, like when we used to play you guys, or you know, we went to 3 overtimes with Simeon and stuff, you know, one game. It was crazy. Deontay Ingram and Mike Taylor them, but it was one of those things that the referees don't like coaching those because it's like coaching. I mean, it's like reffing two varsity
games. Yeah.
So now if they ref the sophomore game and they tired from 2-3 overtimes and a lot of physical play, just like a varsity game. Now they got to ref the varsity game, they're gonna miss some stuff. So a lot of referees talking about they don't like that. But I do remember that, like I say, you knew a lot of the stuff I was gonna do. I knew a lot of the stuff you were gonna do. The kids were they knew each other. They each other. Like with CVS in Hyde Park, like some of our kids stayed closer to Hyde Park than CVS, and some of the Hyde Park kids stayed closer to CVS than they did Hyde Park. So it was kind of crazy because they're all good friends and stuff like that. They didn't want to lose to each other. I didn't want to lose to you. You didn't want to. It just made for a really intense game. One of the most intense face-off games I've ever been in by far and stuff. I was just glad it was at our place. We was able to come out because it was at y'all place. Y'all might have got that nod.
Yeah. And so now, and with that, Tone, and I think one of your makeups and you being the owner and founder of Old Gold, and the title of the show, tonight, title of this episode, and I always frame the title around the individual that I'm speaking with, the individual that I'm bringing on to the show that particular night. And so this, the title of this show is Run, Press, and Trap, Deal with it. People that know that you like pressure. They know that you don't mind, your teams don't mind bumping and being a little bit physical. But in order to play 3 overtimes or to run, press, and trap, you got to be in shape. And not only do you have to be in shape mentally, and I think that this is where you do a great job. Not only is your players in shape mentally or physically, but your players are in shape mentally. You see Larry instigating, talking about who won that game.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond. I'm new to this stuff.
No. Larry, man, CVS won. I think when they came back to Hyde Park, I think that we split. But yeah, that was that game. It was the same way coaching against Larry, man. You in for a dog fight. But you've done a great job, Tone, of having your players ready physically and mentally. Like, can you talk about the importance of being in shape, both physically and mentally?
Yeah, well, one of the things is, that's one of the things I really got from Pick, when he came over there, the amount that we ran and conditioned these guys, get in shape. Pick played, college ball. So, at the place they were at, they ran a heck of a lot. So, we implemented that, and it just always stuck with me after that. Like, if you want to play that type of game, then you have to be able to play that. Yeah, you have to be able to practice that way. And from the time I even started coaching, I always tell kids, if I got to get on you about playing hard, working hard, then, why are you here? So we've been fortunate to get some guys that, wanted to, play hard, wanted to get better. And it's not as much of, a challenge to get them to do that. And, if they didn't do that, I'm one of those coaches, I'll get up in your face and, hey, man, you gotta bring it, dude.
Right.
Bring it, so I'm not afraid to do that. Sometimes I might get a little too carried away, but hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, like you say, if you got feelings in here, man, the funny thing is, like I say, as a young coach, older coaches, man, and I was sitting there behind Tyrone's bench, Slaughter's bench one day, and Slaughter was losing. And he was chewing this one kid out for not doing what he was supposed to do, and the kid looked like he wanted to cry. And Slaughter told him, he said, man, I don't give a damn about your feelings. If we lose this game, my feelings gonna be hurt. I'd rather my feelings don't be hurt.
Right.
It stuck with me because, we as coaches, put so much into it. Sometimes I think we want to win more than the players. Now, I'm not even sometimes, a lot of times, I remember being out with Lou Adams, like 2, 3 in the morning, we drinking and stuff, and we just talking trash about what we gonna do to him and what they gonna do to us. Then Lou, man, said, "Hey, Tom, you know what? We can sit here and drink to 6 in the morning, talk about what each one gonna do. Then one of our kids might not even show up for school." So I was like, "Man, you're right. We can talk all trash you want to, but it's still it depends on those kids and stuff.
Yep.
So you gotta just make sure they're prepared and to the best of your ability and stuff. And then after that, what can you do?" But I Pickett, pushed me to really up the level of how we condition to make sure that guys are in shape for how we want them to play. After that, I'm one of those guys. When I learn something, I don't unlearn it.
Right.
I know it now. Okay, so we're gonna make sure this gets done.
Now, I'm taking notes. I always take notes while I talk. Part of the way that I learn. But now you said that they have to be able to practice that way, right? And then you came back and just said that they have to be in shape for how you want them to play. So, and I don't want the athletes that's watching this to miss it, the coaches that may be watching, this to miss it, or the parents, because so many people, when I first got to Malcolm X and, I was the new coach. They had a few new, they had a couple players. I came in with my whole team and, I was getting a lot of backlash. I didn't like people in my practice, try to kick them out, but certain people just had a little bit more authority and would just come in and watch and knew they was being nosy, and I would get a lot of backlash, man. You got them guys running all this and doing all that. But after the first game, those same people came in the, back in practice and was like, man, I understand why you got them running, so for the, the people that's watching, athletes, players, and or coaches, or athletes, parents, and coaches, student athletes have to practice the way that they're supposed to play. The same way that Coach Tone just said it, Tone. And I think that so many athletes just think that they can turn it on. I can just practice this way because I'm good. I can just turn it on. But, so, I mean, can you talk about that? We've been watching the whole Bulls series and, as the coach said, Michael Jordan is the only guy ever that could turn it on and off, and he never turned it off. But can you talk about that statement that, you and Pick live by, that they had to practice the way in which y'all expect them to play? So now it's no culture shock.
Yeah, one of the things, I'm gonna tell you one of the things I've implemented in the last 6 or 7 years. No matter how hard the practice is, how hard we've been going, at the end of practice, we got to get on the line and we got to make a time. We got to make a time. And, I broke it down to the kids one day, because they was like, man, we always run at the end of practice. We tired. But my whole thing is, what happens in that fourth quarter?
Right.
Or that overtime when, you're just dead tired and you got nothing left to push. That's why we practice that at practice. When you had a hard practice and you think you got nothing left to give, you got to run these times and make them, or we're going to be here all night.
Yeah.
So you got to condition them to be mentally tough, that it just becomes second nature. It becomes second nature. They ain't even got to think about pushing themselves. So that's one of the things we did, just pushing guys in practice. And like you say, the good thing is when you get some self-motivated guys that, we done had teams, man, they flat out talk shit to each other in practice. So, don't nobody want to get outdone. And so guys are pushing each other, man. And, one of the best teams we had was when at CBS, we had Gerald Washington, he was a senior, man, he was tough as nails.
Yeah.
And man, and the best, but he wasn't the best player. The best player we had was Hollis Hill.
Right.
Man, Gerald cursed Hollis out so many times during practice. Man, stop all that slow mo. Man, he would get points, because he wanted him to pick it up. Hollis was one of those cool, laid back players, highly skilled, one of the most skilled guys I've had, highly skilled. But Gerald then pushed it out of him and stuff and brought it out of him to the point that, okay, man, all these guys gonna play hard. I gotta play hard,
Right.
that's what made us really successful that year.
Yeah. No, Gerald definitely had it, man. I used to love Gerald. Just I mean, he was a fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was a fighter. Just in and out. Um, now you wind up leaving CVS, going over to Corliss. You was able to, you all were able to go downstate, and you know I know you've been doing it for a long time, but can you talk about that moment, and especially like being from, like going to Bradley, but like, can you talk about like that moment of, being able to be part of a team that, kind of made it, I don't want to say back home, but damn near kind of like that,
Yeah.
for the big show. So, I mean, how did that make you feel?
Oh man, it was a great experience, and I thank Coach Harvey Jones about that. Just him bringing me on was a great thing. When you get down there, man, it's such a great experience, and you sit there like, wow, this is just big time experience. The whole dinner, banquet, everything.
Mhm.
It's a tremendous experience. So once you get down there, you get the urge. I want to get back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Back down there. I like this experience. I like, even when we playing AAU, I always tell the kids, look, man, you want to be playing when the last game of the season is playing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be sitting there watching somebody else play. So, to be down there playing in the last games of the year, for 2A, I mean, it was a satisfying experience. Like I said, again, I thank Coach Harvey for that. Learned a lot from him when I was over there, and, picked up some things. Hopefully, he picked up some things from me too, because I have a lot to offer and stuff.
Right.
But I definitely picked up some things from him, and it taught me a few things. So I'm glad I had that experience.
Okay. Yeah, I remember, man. Just I remember seeing you on the bench, and I just had a smile, man. I'm like,
And I was in black and gold too.
yeah.
Black and gold was something else. Boy, I was in black and gold too.
Hey, you know what? I was gonna change my sweater. I got on a little oil sweater, but I said, no, man. These tone colors right here, so I'm gonna leave them on for the interview. But now, Tone, you told me something, man, a while back, and I think I told Coach Rob Smith at Simeon. I think I told Rob this story. I was saying, man, in the summertime, we was playing over at Fernwood, and I think you were at CVS at this point. I was still at Hyde Park, and old Rockamo, God rest his soul, man, he beat me, and man, Rock was talking cash smack after the game, and I was kind of frustrated. I'm like, man, okay, I'm like, man, Rock talking and all this, and you said, Bailey, listen, man, I tell you this. My motto is this: beat me when it's baseball cap time. You just won't beat me when it's skull cap time. And I've made a couple videos, talked about this. Can you explain it? Since you were the originator in my eyes to that statement, can you really talk about what that statement mean? Like, you
I
can beat
don't
me
think I was the originator, but I picked it up from somebody else. But
okay.
it's just basically, man. I mean, summer basketball is just meant for that. If it's school basketball, it's meant for the guys to start getting to know each other, start getting the system and all that. If you searching for wins during that time, then you might be defeating yourself, because I've seen guys that only play their starters during the summer. They only play their starters during the summer. They go on 7 or 8. So those guys that's on the bench, they don't get that time they need during the summer. And then you look up, one of those guys are hurt, or one of those guys transfer. Now that guy you didn't play during the summer, he ain't had no time, and he could be much better. So summer is a time to get better, not to be worried about, man, I won a summer championship at no goddamn Fernwood Park and stuff. That's I'm at the Golden Dome. I won the Golden Dome. Okay, all right. Yeah. That don't go down in the newspapers.
Right.
I mean, it's a good thing, because when you're doing it, because it does suggest that, okay, we're coming together as a team, but you don't want to peak too early. I mean, I've really good teams peak too early, and then right when it's time, guys are worn out from probably playing too many games together or whatever. But you want to mix in the right amount of summer league, right amount of fall league into your season. You don't want to do it too much where the guys just get tired of seeing you.
Right.
Tired of seeing you, tired of seeing each other. So you want to mix in, the right amount.
Okay. Now, how important do you think that is, Tom, for like head coaches, regardless if they're the head varsity, sophomore, freshman coach, but to not coach their guys like all year round?
Well, I think for the varsity coaches, it should be a good relief to, you got most varsity coaches got a bunch of assistants, let them run stuff during the summer. I mean, you're there and stuff, but, let them do the coaching and stuff so that the kids do get to hear other voices. One, they hear those assistant voices, so they get used to listening to them. They get used to doing what you ask them to do. So now when it comes back and it's your time to take over, now they're more attentive to your voice, but at the same time, they realize, hey, those assistants are important. When you don't use your assistants correctly, then, you're dooming yourself. If you head coach and you feel like, you're threatened by your assistants, or you feel like, you can do, you don't really, have faith that they'll, be able to take it on, for you, then, you're kind of defeating yourself.
Right.
So that summer is important to let your, assistants get that action in, let those guys hear some other voices. But, you still want them to hear your voice. You still want them to get them how you want them, during that time, so that you don't have to spend so much time. I think the summer should be a lot, development, let guys develop and stuff, and workouts and, skill development, because we got, like, I look at the NBA now, man, I argue with these young guys all the time. Oh man, the guys here are so much athletic. Yeah, they athletic. They just running around the court.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they don't know how to screen correctly. They just running around the court.
Yeah.
Look at the NBA and tell a lot of the player development just ain't there.
Yeah.
In the old days, you had to be fundamentally sound.
Right.
You got guys in the NBA now that are just not fundamentally sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at that and just tell.
Yep. Yeah. No, and that's a great transition. To my next question. You have always done like summer ball, and as I said, even when I came over with you, a few times, and we were over at Hales back then. But being the owner and founder of Old Gold Basketball, and I kind of want to take my time on this because it's so me personally, and I'm talking about me personally. I'm not a big AAU fan because and even on the college level, I would have to do a lot of deprogramming and then reprogramming, just in terms of how to play the right way or how I wanted them to play. What's the goal? What's the mission of Old Gold? Because Old Gold has, y'all have been around for a long time. I think you do it right, and it's not just summertime. There's an Old Gold presence. If it's during Christmas tournaments, if it's during springtime. But can you talk a little bit about Old Gold and just the overall presence of your organization and why you put it together?
Well, you know what? It started off like I got my start in coaching over at the YBA, because, like I said, once I came home from college, I hooped at the Y all the time, man, and I was in there forever. And then I had Mau and Lefty came to me and like, hey man, you interested in helping out on these Saturdays, man? Because we need some help with, coaching these kids. So I said, hey, man, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
So, had a couple good seasons, and it was successful. That was right around the time that AAU just really started getting popular.
Okay.
Guys over there that, Wayne Robinson, a bunch of Sterling Williams and those guys, and, Amin Ali and them, they wanted to get involved in the AAU. So we took the group the year before Steph and Wayne, and we took Amin Ali, Jason Macklin, those guys. We kind of did it, a little half stuff because we were just figuring it out. So we put them in a few tournaments, and it was cool. They liked it. So then that next year, we had a group out of there that wanted to get into it. So we got that group together, and it was their 8th grade year. And, it started from there. It started from there because, they want to get involved in it, and so I put that group in there, and, Sherman Tatum, rest his soul, recipe, came and helped me. And, we had some good coaches that came and helped, and it started from there. We picked up some guys. We picked up Stefan and some other guys, and we looked up. We had a really good 8th grade team. When I went over to High Park, some of those guys came over there, some went other places. But that team, that was one of the teams that, they stuck with it all throughout high school. We picked up a couple guys, freshman year, sophomore year, we picked up Calvin Brock, and, that group stuck with it through high school. And that was one of the best groups we've had. And this was when, I was really first learning to do this stuff. I was super passionate. I understood the game. I had done some studying, and, I played a lot, but, just learning things on the fly, and that made it very interesting. A lot out of that first group, we had like 7 or 8 guys that ended up playing Division I. 7 or 8 guys that ended up playing Division I. So I mean, that was just a great group. It was crazy as hell, but it was. They were some fools, but they, at the time I was young, so I could deal with all that. But so it was good. And then after that, the program just grew from there, because now after they became freshmen, we had other 8th graders wanting to play. So now we started going from 1 team to 2 teams to 4 teams. I had some help, but I was doing a lot of that stuff by my own self. Wayne's there, Mr. Robertson, we were packing kids in, and Mr. Ali, we were packing kids in, going all over the place. But wherever they said, hey, it's a game, we'd go over to the Golden, we play over there. We played everywhere. We went up to went on the west side, played Luther Head, and they had a kid over there went to Bally that I think his name was Paul. He never played for Bally. Probably better than Luther.
Wow. Okay.
Dude was good. They were playing together. I'm like, man, this dude good. But I think he had some situations with his grades that he could never get it right. But I'm like, man, these guys are good. So that's, and them kids, and at first, them kids, they didn't care. They wanted to be over there. And that's probably when we started playing over there, that's when we picked up Emmanuel Little and Cordell, because they Farragut. So they wanted to come out south and play with Stefan and them, man. And two of the biggest pickups we made, because that brought some real toughness to us. That brought some real life toughness to us. Emmanuel Little is probably the fiercest rebounder for that height I've ever been around in my life. Some guys just want that ball. He was like Robbie. I got to go get that ball. So he was tough. So that kind of how it got started. And like I said, it just bloomed from there. At the time, it was not hard to get really good players, because you had the Wolves, the Warriors.
Ferrari was back then, wasn't it?
Warriors, Ferrari, and Wolves, Warriors, Ferrari, and the Fire. So, all those, top players, but, that left a whole lot of other players to go around for guys like us, the Demons, the Hawks, the Heat. There's still plenty of players to go around. Whereas now AAU has become so popular in the area, and it's so inundated. Back then, you had to be a stud to get picked on a team.
Right.
Now pretty much anybody can play as long as you pay your money or whatever. But back then you had to be one of them dudes.
Yeah.
Like if you was 10th man on somebody's high school team, you wasn't playing AAU.
Right.
You wasn't playing AAU. Just what happened, But I mean, I guess guys, start wanting to make sure that their sons and all that were involved. So that's how it exploded. Where now you got way too many teams, and you got some bad teams out here. But I still serving a purpose because you got kids involved in something organized over the spring and summer. So it still serves a good purpose and stuff. So I never knock any up and coming team or anything like that because, most of these coaches in AAU, regardless of what people say, are not making any money. A lot of them are spending money out of their pockets and stuff. I remember one summer I spent like $8,000 out of my pocket. Man, at the end of the summer, I looked at my credit card bill. I'm like, man, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
You decided you want to go these places. Kids can't come up with the money. You don't want to let the kids down. So man, I mean, I'm fortunate that God's put me in a position where I've been able to manage it and been able to make it. But now, we're a lot more astute in what we're doing. So now if I spend $1,000 or $2,000 during the summer, I mean, I'm not tripping on that, but I can't do 8,000 no more. I'm tripping. I'm not doing that no more. We just ain't gonna go somewhere.
Right. So now, I don't want you to, to give up your trade secrets, but kind of walk us through it, Tone, because one thing that I know that you do is, you not only, and maybe this changed after the 8,000, but, I know that you involve the parents more. If it's, like with a parent social, if it's a bowling event or a stepper set, like,
and like I said, you got to learn from it, man. So, you start trying to do things that help raise money, because if you saying, okay, this is a certain fee, some parents just not going to do it and stuff. So your thing is, okay, do I leave this kid behind? Do I put this kid off? We've tried not to do that, man, as much as possible, and sometimes it gets frustrating because you have parents, have it, and, and they just don't want to do it because they feel like they should be playing for free. Nothing in the world's free, especially with programs that's not sponsored. So, I came up with tournaments, like say parties, stuff like that to, I mean, because a lot of the kids we service in that over the years have been guys from, our neighborhoods that just don't have it. And, I had to, really evaluate something when I was like, man, this kid can at least go sell some stuff, boom. And, we was talking one day and, me and the coach is like, and we asking the kid to go sell, and everybody he knows is poor.
Right.
They not trying to buy the stuff we try to sell because everybody he knows, So, I mean, when you start thinking like that, and you got to start thinking logically as you get older, you start to mature and realize certain things. You just come up with ways, like now, I got a lot of fraternity brothers that, I call on to help sponsor kids and stuff. And great about that, the alphas, I mean, they've been fabulous as far as helping out, and I'm hoping, just to keep continuing that on. But we just learned from that, so we do tournaments and stuff like that because we're self-funded, people think you're making a lot of money and stuff, man. They don't realize, man, that, until I have coaches up there sitting there being, we go to pay that hotel bill, it's $3,000. They're like, whoa. It's college, airplane bills and all that stuff. But, I got to the point where I want our kids in the places where, everybody's at. Sometimes the kids ask, why can't we go there? Why can't we go there? Man, we got to make sure we're in the places that we want to be in, and we're not going to waste some money on some stuff that, are really money grabs. You got some tournaments out here now that are just money grabs where, they charge you $500 and give you 3 games, and come on, man.
Right.
So money grabs and stuff. So then, the kids like, hey, but I want to go to that. That's hype. They're gonna be talking about that on social media and all that. but you got to pick and choose your battles.
Right.
You got to pick and choose your battles. So, sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's tough to, sell that to the kids. But, for the most part, you give them a good schedule and they're happy with it and stuff. They're happy with it.
Right. And I know now, you were saying like, pick and choose places that you want to go. I know, you all have done the out of town, but I know that you found, you used to find a lot of good, like in-state things. I know Rockford, I'm not sure if Rockford is still a big one, but, used to, do those type of things. But can
you gotta try to split it up, make sure you got some local stuff that's good. Like we throw our tournament and we try to support the guys that support us, and guys come around. Even if it's a new team just starting up even if it's a new team that's just starting up and they trying to throw a tournament, hey, I might not go all in, but I'm gonna send you one team, at least
right.
two teams at least support you and try to help you get off your feet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We try to get in the best stuff that's available to fit it all in a budget and stuff. Of course, we always go with budget, but we try to make that up with our tournaments and other events that we do, so that the kids are where they want to be.
Right. And I mean, as you say with the tournaments, I touched on, the Christmas tournament, that you always, would do. And you got, the spring tournament, the summer tournament. Anybody that's ever been to an Old Gold event, right? So you can look at it from two different standpoints, because I've been on both sides, right? If you on the inside, it's nerve-wracking as hell, because, and it goes back to you being a hard worker, right? Them runs to the store, if it's wherever you go on Sam's, wherever, those runs, making sure that the setup is right in the gym, making sure that and I mean, you've always I don't want to tell, and I don't think this is a secret, but like, you've always done a good job of hiring people or people that's part of the organization that can help, or getting some kids to do some community service hours. And like them people at the door, Old Gold, they ain't going. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going. Like, if you ain't got that money, because I remember you said, Tone, and you running around trying to do everything. Like, look, don't call me no more. You can't do the job that I had gathered you do up here. Don't call me. So on one side, it's knowing that you want things to be right. You deal with teams that don't show, which is a whole nother conversation, right? But you want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and everything flows, so you can be kind of going crazy. But then on the other side, like, you come, as a fan, you're going to enjoy yourself, and the damn concession stand at an Old Gold tournament be popping. You know what I'm saying?
The nachos flowing, man. I know Coach Larry watching. He like, told you the nachos ain't hot yet, man.
Like, yeah, them, got them nachos going. So I've seen both sides of it. The side where you got to go get everything and make sure that everything is straight, and then the other side when people see it, when the lights come on. So can you just talk about some of the process that goes into running a good tournament, regardless how much it costs? Because some of these tournaments charge a whole lot and they don't really offer nothing.
Man, I mean, it's just a lot of hard work. You gotta have a vision, of how you want to do it. The first thing you want to do is sit down and ask yourself, what do you like when you go to a tournament? What do you like when you go to a tournament? Anything you don't like, let's try to see if we can eliminate that from our tournament.
Yeah.
Stuff starting on time, so you try to push, make sure everybody start on time. Teams not showing up, so you try to wait as long as you can, make the schedule, make sure teams are going to be there, and make sure teams are paid their money and stuff. You always try to give some guys some leeway, but sometimes it just don't work.
Yeah.
So all those things. I mean, a couple of days before the tournament, man, I'm just grouchy as ever. I tell kids, man, look, man, y'all do not listen to me this weekend and stuff because I'm grouchy. I don't even know if, like, Old Gold, I got like a tremendous winning record.
Mm-hmm.
When we do our own tournament, man, I like might get over there 30 seconds before we supposed to be playing, man. I ain't talking, man. Y'all just hoop, man.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't as focused as on winning your own event as you are on making sure the event goes smoothly.
Mm.
You want it to go smoothly. You don't want to get into a position where, you know, a fight happened or something crazy happened and then you lose access to facilities that you've historically had. You know, and then you get these groups, you be like, hey, man, I can't let you in my tournament. I like your money, but, you know, y'all fight too much.
Mm.
I've had to tell, you know, a couple of y'all fight too much in our tournament and stuff, man. You know, like it's not no boxing. This is a basketball tournament. So, you know, guys, you know, it's some certain people that always think that, you know, everyone's doing them wrong and stuff. So they come mess up the tournament. So I've become conscious of that to try not to be that person when I go to a tournament.
Okay.
I don't want to be that person that's causing a nerve wreck and stuff. But yeah, you got to be organized and you got to have people that are reliable. And, you know, when I don't have enough parents, you know, hey, man, you kids, y'all got to work because this money towards y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't need none of this. I got my own job, you know what I'm saying? But this money goes towards, you know, these kids and making sure that we go to the places we want to go and do the things we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's the main focus on it. But like, running the event is, you know, I mean, especially our big tournament where you got like almost 50, 60 teams and you got, you know, you make a schedule out and then, you know, after you put the schedule out, somebody say, hey, you know, well, I can't play at this time. Man, why you didn't tell me that before? Now I'm heated.
Right.
So now you got to try to redo this and all that. But, you know, so you try to, you know, do it the best you can. Like anything in life, you try to do the best you can. I hope people are, you know, happy and satisfied. But for the most part, most people tell you, I run a pretty decent event and, you know,
absolutely.
People are happy when they leave there, feel like they got their money worth. I'm not trying to overcharge them, you know, kill their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
But and you know, the thing of it is, you know, we in our community, you know, we treat each other wrong. We'll come to the door crying about, man, look, it's only a couple options when you get up here. Or you leave. Wait, the third option ain't gonna be up here and nag us to death. That ain't gonna be an option.
Right. Yeah, no, and I, you know, think that, you know, you do a great job with that. And, you know, like even just opportunity, you know, if it's, you know, trying to help out some young referees also. And I mean, you know, you have some great referees, but, you know, you just always present opportunity, you know, that I've seen to, you know, teams that may not get to play, you know, and certain tournaments, you know, or, you know, if it's referees or whatever, you know, so I think that that's big. But as you say, like picking and choosing. So can you dispel the, well, you know, maybe it's the rumor, but, you know, from your standpoint, how are you picking tournaments? And or let me change the question. Most parents want to get involved in an AAU program because they want their kids to get exposure. So they like, you know, okay, well, where are y'all going? And, you know, feel as though, okay, well, this program may be good enough because they're going all over the country. You know, you spoke about how you all do go different places, but you also find things at home. And then there are some programs that may not have the capital to be able to go all over. So when parents say, I want my kids to get that exposure, does that necessarily mean like out of state? You know what I mean? Can you explain that to us, Tom?
Well, here's a good thing, and I'm glad you brought that point up. There's a fine line between getting exposure and getting exposed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A lot of parents want their kids to get some exposure, and they're not ready for the exposure yet.
Yep.
So one of the things I tell guys all the time, and you know, maybe my philosophy is a little bit different. I'm not in AAU just, to get kids exposure and
Okay.
help them get better. A lot of my kids might not even get an offer from the summer, but then they go back their senior year because of how hard we push that offer they're looking for. People go out here and thinking that a lot of times already got their mindset on a certain player or stuff like that. And some parents, your kid's not good to play at these levels. Why don't you let him try to get better during the summer?
Right.
One of the things we definitely want to do, we try to push kids to get better. I tell parents when they come in the door, look, man, I like to win. I'm like, please don't take it personal. That's just me, how I coach, how my nature. Old goal might not be for everybody.
Right.
Because all my coaches, for the most part, are going to coach hard. They're going to push you. They're not going to play no bull stuff. We want young men to come in here and come out, better, mentally tougher, like you talked about earlier, physically tougher, with a higher level of the game, and have fun. We've had guys that never went on to play college basketball and said that the time they spent with Ogo was the best time of their life.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, it's not just about other things. I mean, it's not just about getting recruited. So being on these type of teams, not just our team, other AAU teams, where they spend a lot of time together, you build some lifelong friendships. We got some kids that are lifelong friends.
Yep.
We got some kids that when we go out of town, this is their first time flying.
Yeah. Talk about it.
First time away from home with anybody other than their family. So it's a lot more than just, okay, I got to get recruited. If you good, 90% of the time they're going to find you.
They're going to find you. Yeah.
90% of the time they're going to find you. Now, I've had some kids that were good, that we got in the right situation. We got them higher offers and stuff.
Okay.
That we did. But you have to be that type of guy that, boom. Yeah, Coach Ford just brought it up. A kid like Trey Ward that played for us over at Oakland this year. I love Trey, love his family. They great family because I'm like I said, I'm intense. Trey's a real nice kid. I said some stuff to Trey, during the spring and summer, made his parents uncomfortable with him. But they sat back and let me coach them. And man, Trey had a phenomenal year this year with Oakland. He did great. And now he's going on, to play college ball. So I'm happy for Trey. I'm happy for his family because those are the type of stories I like seeing. Guys that because all he want to do is just sit out there and shoot threes and not guard nobody.
Okay.
Hey, one thing you gonna do when you play, you gonna guard somebody, man. Now you might not turn out to be the best defender, but you're gonna guard somebody and stuff. So he became a much better defender and started attacking the rim, and it just opened his game up and opened his confidence level up. That's one of the things you don't want to get bogged down with AAU is just being too loose on one hand. Then on the other hand, you don't want to be too restrictive. You want the kids to be able to play and moves they want to try those moves out. You want to do that because AAU is the time to do it. That's the time to expand your game. So, but like I said, parents coming in just thinking, well, this going to get my kid recruited. Now your kid's talent is going to get him recruited. Now, if he's coming on this team and he's not good enough to be recruited, I can't work no miracle.
Right.
I can't work no miracle, but if he is good enough to be recruited, we're going to push him to get better for his senior year. We can't get him something during that spring and summer. I'm going to work with the high school coach to try to get him something by the end of the year. But, you got to be good enough to play at that next level. And a lot of guys, that are playing AAU just aren't good enough to play in college, but, they're holding on to a dream.
I love that. Because hell, that's just being honest. I got 2 points from what you just talked about. How important is it, because obviously Trey's parents, no matter how hard you were or Coach Ford was on him, but you said that, they let you coach how important is it for parents? Because we got parents watching. Parents will watch, as well as the coaches now and the athletes. But for parents, like if you can speak to the parents' tone, like what are some things that parents should know going into a program that can help their athlete? And what's some things that parents should know going into a program that'll hurt their athlete? Because I feel like, okay, you want them to get that exposure, but you being an expert, right? You've been doing this for a long time now. Excuse me. You've been an expert. You know what is required to be able to get them to a certain point, not a certain level, not a certain scholarship. You know what it takes to get that particular athlete to a certain point. And sometimes it's not going to be, okay, come on, Bailey, you're all right. Sometimes you got like that fire. So how important is it, like what can you say to parents that they can do to help their athlete and some things that they need to stop doing that's hurting the athlete?
Well,
and it don't have to be from old go, but just things that you've seen throughout
the borderline of involvement. You know what I'm saying? You want the parents involved in things that they're supposed to be involved in and not involved in things they aren't supposed to be involved in when it pertains to the kid. Let that coach your kid. You should have enough faith because you chose to bring your kid there that the coach will look out for the best interests of your kid. So if that coach needs help doing this, transporting kids or whatever and stuff, try to help out that way. But don't try to tell the coach how to run this or how to run that. You just can't do that. And sometimes the coaches, you don't know what they're doing, man. I tell this story all the time. We were down in Atlanta playing, and this one I had Brock, but Stephon had hurt his hand. And we playing Josh Smith and them, the Atlanta Celtics. And if you don't know, you see him on TV, but in person, he dunks the basketball as hard as anybody I've ever been in the gym with. Every time he was dunking it, it was boom. I was like, whoa. So we're down 20 at halftime. And, I'm sitting there like, I don't, what do I do? So we're out in the hallway, and I looked at Brock, and I literally cursed Brock out for no reason. Just to get mad. Because I know how he's going to react.
Right.
I know how he's going to react. And Brock came out in the second half, and he dunked everything that came off the rim.
Wow.
And he left out at halftime. He was so red hot. Brock real light-skinned.
Light-skinned, yeah.
He was so mad. He was a dark red. He was just mad that he mad at me. You know? But he did it how a player's supposed to do. He got mad, and what I was on him about, he went and took it out on the other team.
Yeah.
What a lot of these kids don't understand, man, we're on the same team.
Right.
We don't get upset and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you leave with us.
Right.
We came together, we leave it together, but so it's how kids respond to stuff, and that's one of the things as a coach I had to learn though too, also that certain kids just not gonna respond good, so you got to try to figure out some other ways with those kids, but certain kids just not gonna respond good. But for those kids, to be honest, it becomes tough because when you go to that college level, as you know, Bailey, it don't get no easier with these college coaches when, you got a college coach that's making $300,000, $400,000 a year or $1 million. They're not too much worried about your feelings. They worry about you producing and you know what you're supposed to do. So, and if it's tough for you to take somebody like me or somebody like that, you're not really being realistic about playing for one of these Krzyzewskis or somebody like that, in college.
Mm-hmm. And now you have them, let's say, Vontae say, people want their kids to play on the EYBL circuit or these, sponsor shoe circuits, but based on the talent, do you feel as though, and, I think that I know the answer, but again, for the parents that's watching or for the athletes, that may be watching, when that coach does get on that athlete, and y'all in a gym full of coaches, do you believe that coaches are looking at things beyond your athletic ability? Like, can you talk about that? Because I know
one of the things is I'll preach right to that. Coaches are looking at see not if you're getting fussed at, but how you respond to it. Because I had a coach when I had Derek Marks, that played at Boise State. we're in Orlando, and he was just giving a half-ass effort, and I just listened to him and stuff. And he picked the game up, and I had the coach call me, a few weeks later. He said, "Hey, man, the biggest thing I took from that is, man, I love how Derek allowed you to coach him hard, and it didn't do nothing but just make him play harder. We do that at our school because we can't mess around."
Yeah.
This was straight out of a college coach's mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
This conversation. He loved the fact, then they offered Derek, but he loved the fact that, he allowed me to coach him hard without getting the attitude, not without looking at me like I'm the enemy, but realizing, hey, Coach Wright, man, I'm out here bull crapping around. Let me turn it up a notch.
Yeah.
And he did turn it up a notch. Stories like that with him, those are the satisfying ones, when you get guys, he's another one, great parents, his daddy yelled out to me one day, "Coach Stowe, Derek ain't playing no defense."
He told on him, huh?
Listen to me, he's snitching on his son. He ain't playing no defense. I said, "Man, don't you think I see that? He'll score all that 14 points."
Man.
Some guys you just got to take it how it is, but you got to be able to allow the kids to be coached. I hear a lot of parents in the stands just going crazy and all that. It's a time for that, and you want to cheer on your kids, but you got to come there and be supportive and not harass the coaches, not harass the referees and stuff, because it not only does it put a lot of pressure on the coaches and the referees, put a lot of pressure on your kids.
Yeah.
I've had kids that, I'm sitting there, we get in the locker room later and they be like, "Man, I wish my dad shut up. I wish my mom would just sit down." I say that to, of course, they're not going to say that to their parents.
Right.
Of course, they're not going to say that to their parents. They love their parents, but the parents don't understand how uncomfortable it makes them feel.
Yeah.
That they're out there, for lack of a better word, clowning in the stands and stuff, it makes a kid uncomfortable. So sometimes, I tell some parents, I say, "Hey, look, tape the game. Tape the game.
Yeah.
Go home afterwards and, hey, go over the game with them if you want to coach them. Go over the game with them. Show, hey, man, look here, man. Look how you jog and look how you take the game." But don't try to coach them during the game, because you're trying to coach them. They trying to listen to the coach, trying to listen to you. Now they getting fussed at by the coach because they wasn't paying attention there.
Yeah.
So, you're just doing them a disservice if, you're being involved in that area.
Yeah. No, and I love how you phrase it. I've never heard that, but you say like the borderline of involvement. Like you got to know what you should be involved in, what you shouldn't be involved in. And I think one of the things for student athletes to respond to is when a parent is talking about or talking down to another player that's on their kid's team. Like that's hard for, especially if those kids are friends and now the parent, they talking about, "Oh, he can't shoot, or he always turn the ball over, she, never get a rebound," like to degrade or demean. Like, I mean, as you said, they're lifelong friends. So now if your mom
let me tell you what's the thing that scares me the most as a coach.
Go ahead.
The long ride home.
Oh, yeah. Talk about it.
The long ride home, because no matter what you done told them, what the other coaches done told them, on that long ride home with mommy or daddy, they getting the earful of something else.
Yep.
So-and-so ain't passing you the basketball.
Yep.
So-and-so ain't be rebounding. So-and-so, they give a whole lot of other stuff instead of, looking at the positive stuff and, "Hey, how you doing?" The kids have already heard an earful from the coach. The coach been all over them and stuff like that. They don't really need the parent to reiterate all that stuff unless it's small things. But, that long ride home is something scary. It's something scary because it can ruin a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A kid. I had a kid like that, his daddy, "Oh, I know so much, about basketball. I know just as much as you do, coach." "Well, man, why your son is senior in high school, he can't dribble his left hand?" "Since you know so much, I just got to teach you."
Right.
"But why he can't dribble his left hand? You tell me this since you know so much."
Right.
Right. So, I mean, when you start doing that, but I mean, you love the parent involvement for my benefit, I've had some great parents, that have trusted me with their kids. And, I just try to do my best that I can to make sure I don't lose their trust and that I, live up to their expectations and their obligations. So, we try to get these kids somewhere. But like I say, the kids got to want that stuff too, I mean, everybody works hard when the coach is looking. What are you doing when the coach ain't around?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. What are you doing when the coach not around? Now, can you speak on, I know me and you talked about it, right? And you kind of touched on it a little bit. From your standpoint, what's the most crucial when, we're talking about kids potentially getting scholarship offers, getting, evaluated, getting, recruited. What would you say is that biggest year or biggest 2 years that is, the most crucial time for high school athletes, if they're playing summer ball?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that junior year. That freshman, sophomore year and finishing that junior year in school, you should have been really working on your craft. So that junior year, you're ready to be out here and showcase your stuff. So you can try to showcase it to some coaches. And then, on top of that, build on that for your senior year so that you can have a successful senior year. So, that junior summer going into that, not only are you prepping yourself to get out there on the circuit and play well in front of coaches, but you're also prepping yourself for your last year, your last go around. You know what I'm saying? At that point, then you're trying to tell this guy, hey man, this is my senior year.
Right.
My senior year, I want to win this. I want to win. So that junior year is stuff. The NCAA has made it extremely difficult now. We're just going to one live period in July. They're trying to take a lot of power out of AAU and put it back in the high schools, which you can do one without hurting the other. You had some time out in there. I think they just didn't want to wear the college coaches out with having them going out too many times. But, I think with only having one live period in July is definitely, a hurt, and one in April. So it's, only for Division I coaches, those are only a couple times that the guys can be out. Now, the flip side is for programs like us, it can also play into an advantage because D2s, D3s, and all those other guys can still come out.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that's on the EYBL circuit and stuff like that may not be looking at D2s and all that stuff. We get a lot of guys like that. Like last year, we were in Florida, and, we get a lot. That's to another point I want to bring up. That's why a lot of college coaches get fired.
Why?
I know I'll probably take some heat for this.
No.
The EYBL, instead of coming to some places where we got some players, the Demons players and all those, Y&R got some players that can help their program. We were in Florida last year. We played against a team from Connecticut. They had a dude that was good. I mean, good. I've been around this a long time. Man, dude had the goods. He about like 6'7", he could do it all. If you was a mid-major coach down there and got the following that kid, you could have lucked up and got you a ringer.
Yeah.
But instead, a lot of them was at the EYBL stuff, trying to get some players they're not going to get. Just to say they were there. Just to say they was with the in crowd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not really working. Like you say, that's fake hustle.
Yeah.
Fake hustle. I give it up to my man Dana Ford, because he came in a couple years and got two of the best guards out of Illinois, right from under all the Illinois coaches. Yeah. He came in and got Pat Miller to go to Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Pat Miller was good.
Pat played for you, right? Yeah.
Pat played for me. I had a coach ask me, and I'm not going to put the coach out there, but they was interested in Pat after the fact. And I said, because we were down in nationals and we got to the Sweet 16, and this was when it was still over 100 teams playing down there in national.
Right.
And we playing the team from out east. I forget the name right now, but they had a guy on there, and it's gonna come back to me in a hot second. But played at Tennessee one year and then went pro.
Okay.
And he was playing against us, and and Pat gave him 30.
Wow.
We beat them to go to the Sweet 16. I mean, to go to the Sweet 16, and that was the best game we played all summer. That was the best game we played all summer. But this coach, they get back. Tennessee. Pat had already committed to Tennessee State.
Right.
Yeah, he's trying to get him Pat. And I seen him say, why y'all didn't get on him earlier? And we didn't know nothing about him. I'm like, but y'all was down in nationals. If you down in nationals, you from Illinois, and this Illinois team getting to the Sweet 16 down there, you would think you'd at least come over and just check out to see who on their team.
Right.
That's fake hustle.
Fake hustle. Yep.
You ain't even coming over there. We're in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
And you ain't even came over there. In our Sweet 16 game, we played Jared Sullinger, Adrian Kraft, and all them, all Ohio.
Okay. Yeah.
We was tired. There was 3 hours after we played the other one, but it's just still the whole thing. You got college coaches out here fake hustling because they want to be with the in crowd rather than come out and do some work and find some good players. There's so many good players in the Chicago Public League, Chicago Catholic League, and stuck on the same few players instead of getting out there doing some work and actually finding you a cat that can really help your program.
Yeah.
So now it's up to coaches like me and other coaches to try to push these kids, and then you have coaches, they'll hold them to a higher standard than another kid that got a name that's same talent.
Yeah. So now
he doesn't tie his shoes right, coach. Did you see the way he dribbled?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely a reason why we have a lot of turnover with the college coaches. A lot of them just can't recognize talent and ain't really willing to get out there and go work and find that talent.
Work and find it, yeah. And as you say, they want to be with the in crowd. Kind of same way with as players. They want that exposure, but wind up getting exposed or getting fired because they just aren't. Don't have an eye for talent or may want to overlook it. So now, who's the other guard though, Tone? I want to see if you thinking what I'm thinking. Who was the other guard?
What on what team?
No, you said it was two guards that they let slip away. Pat was one. Who was the other?
Like right after
with Dana.
After that, Dana goes to Wichita State, and he gets Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
Out of Illinois, go to Wichita State.
Yep.
He gets Fred VanVleet. Now, look, let me tell you something, man. I don't know about them, but I know who can play. Get out there in Maryville and watch Fred VanVleet get a fire everything they wanted.
Yeah.
He gave them everything they wanted. They had a crew of killers. Fire had a crew. He gave them everything they wanted.
Yeah.
They was in Minnesota, same time we was in Minnesota. I saw him eat Yogi Ferrell up. Eat him up. So I'm like, man, how's no school in Illinois that highly recruiting him?
Right.
Paul High, Illinois, how are they not highly recruiting him? One of the coaches asked me, man, you think he could play for Illinois? Man, do you watch basketball? This was before Fred blew up like that.
Blew up, yeah.
I said, man, that man can play basketball, man.
Yeah.
Dana came in and got two studs out of Illinois back to back.
Right under people's nose, and just
doing the work. When we were down there in Nationals and the showcase, we played like 11 games. Dana was at like 9 of the games. He won.
Yeah.
And it paid off. Pat rewarded it.
Yeah.
He went out and ended up one of the leading scorers of all time in Tennessee State.
Yep. Absolutely. And yeah, man, one of my, Doc, the coach that was coaching them, Doc Cornell. He, talk about it all the time, man, when they surprised a lot of people, with that team with Fred on it, because dude has been able to play for a long time, a long time now. So now let me ask you this, Tone. You mentioned earlier, man, and I want to go back to this because you said that if it gets to a point to where now you have to go and work with the high school coach to make sure that the kid gets the right fit, the right school. Can you talk about, because, you know, it's a lot of disparity or conversation about who is most important in the recruitment of a kid, the AAU coach or the head coach. I always say the parents should really be top, you know, no matter which one it is. But, you know, I think good coaches, as you stated, because, and, you know, you're on both sides. As the AAU coach, you know, you don't have a problem if you need to go and work with the high school coach, because the ultimate goal is that kid. But can you talk about how, you know, because, you know, I think a lot of high school coaches now get disrespected because the kid's like, well, you don't matter to my, you know, recruiting. And then, you know, the AAU coaches get a lot of flack because people look at them like it's their fault. So, like, can you talk about that a little bit, you know, with like, why doesn't it matter to you to be able to go deal with the head coach?
With me, you know, first of all, you can't place yourself above this game. A lot of coaches, you know,
I love it.
A lot of coaches do that.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is, okay, if I got guys that get recognized in AAU by some person, of course I'm gonna, you know, help them out with that, but I'm also gonna make that call to their high school coach or that text. You know, I try to have pretty good relationships with most of the coaches, you know, that I got kids. Hey man, you know, I'm giving so and so your number. I talked to a college coach for too long. My thing is, hey, I'm about to give you the head coach number so you can holler at him. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to have that rapport with the head coach and stuff. And they got to have that dialogue, because the head coach is going to be the one provide the transcripts and all those other type of things that they're going to need. So you, as an AAU coach, you got to be able to work with the head coaches at these high schools, because if you don't, you're going to end up, you know, creating a fiasco for the kid and for the whole situation. So I do my best with that. Most high school coaches be very responsive. You know, very rarely do you have a coach that just, you know, a jerk about it and stuff. And I try not to be a jerk about it and stuff. You know, like say when somebody tell you, well, Tone was a jerk at this time, you know, he might be right. You know, for the most part, I try not to be.
Right.
But, you know, everybody slips up sometimes as you get in your emotions and stuff. But so that's important, just having a dialogue with them, letting them know, you know, hey, we're going out of town this day is, you know, kind of important, you know. So, you know, I mean, you just got to have a good dialogue with them. You know, some high school coaches get to the point where they're stuck in the 60s to the point they don't like AAU and don't realize that if you can not like AAU or not be your favorite thing, but it's what's happening right now.
Right.
You're a kid from doing it, you're going to end up losing that kid.
Right.
They're going to go somewhere else where the coach is going to let them play AAU. I mean, that's just how it is. But yeah, it can be a good balance. It can be a good balance, especially if you and the high school coach work together. You know, hey, boom. I'm always, you know, kind of lenient on the guys when they say, hey, I'm coming, you know, I got high school practice till 6 or high school workouts at 6. I can't be there till about half hour. Man, hey, man, I got it. You know, as an AAU coach, that of coach high school, you understand that, you know, kids got to be there with their high school coaches.
Right.
You know, thing would hope the high school coaches would start to realize, you know, hey, man, you know, why am I, you know, keeping this kid home, you know, to play in a tournament over at the Golden Dome when he can be in Atlanta or he can be in Orlando or Texas or somewhere playing in a different venue.
Yeah.
You know, we have high school coaches that are threatening, well, you're not going to be on my team if, you know, you don't make this during the summer and stuff. Right. Kids trying to choose between that, you know, why would you try to deny a kid of the opportunity to go to some places that they've never been?
Right. No, and that's
that's just being selfish.
Right. And that's a great point. And, you know, as you said, like
we said, you ain't gonna win no championship in July.
And yeah, I mean, anyway, you know, and like, you know, with the high school transcripts or things that, you know, has to be rather than having a kid, okay, well, you go do it, or, you know, you have your parents do it. Well, like, it's a certain order, you know, to be able to get things done. You know, do you feel as though that some of the coaches that are in disagreement of, let's say, the AAU system? Well, first of all, let me ask you this: can you break down, because I know that you all are part of the AAU system? Can you break down what AAU stands for, one, and can you also dispel the misnomer that all teams in the spring and summer are not actually part of that organization?
Yeah, AAU is Amateur Athletic Union. It used to be big in Illinois. A lot of guys have went away from AAU and they just will play travel ball, meaning that you don't actually have to be registered with the AAU. We always register with the AAU every year. Helps with the practice insurance and stuff like that. It helps you, get your insurance and stuff like that. Always register with them and like to play in AAU events because they're structured, got certain rules. Some of these travel events you go to, man, you be playing some 21-year-olds, man. You be like, man, come on, man. Come on, man. That ain't y'all coach. But I mean, it's cool. But I mean, you don't really trip on it. But so I mean, it is a different entity and stuff. AAU is not as big as it used to be. Like I said, when I started going to AAU Nationals, man, it was always over 100 teams there. I think last time I went, it was like 30 teams. So, but I mean, it used to be really big, and they're making a push now, partnering with some other organizations to try to get it back at that level. I think they will be successful eventually, but just because of the structure and that allows for the tournament plays and stuff like that under an umbrella,
Right.
that's hard to find. But then you got the EYBL circuit now. You got the Adidas circuit. So all the gym shoot teams have circuits now. Now you got prep hoop circuit, NY2LA circuit. So those are circuits that a lot of the guys that not Nike or Adidas are playing on. So you got a lot of different travel basketball out there. You got AAU, these circuits. You got a lot of different travel basketball out there. So it becomes a busy, and then you got to try to figure out which one best benefits your program, which one maximizes the exposure your kids might get.
Right.
It's almost come to a point that you got to get on one of the circuits, whether it's prep. If you're not shoot circuits, you got to get on prep hoops or NY2LA or one of those circuits in order to try to muster the college coach commitment for your guys and stuff.
Okay. So now are the circuits part of AAU, or is that a whole different entity?
A whole different entity and stuff. I mean.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing, just different organization. Like I said, AAU is an organization, Amateur Athletic Union. They're organization.
Right. Okay.
So then you got, like I said, prep hoop circuits. Their main thing is just doing tournaments, and the same thing with NY2LA, just doing tournaments and stuff. So you got to really just figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. See, I didn't know. Now, do you think that part of the reason why some people dispel the whole, travel AAU circuit ball is because winning is so or it seems as though winning is the most important thing as opposed to discipline, structure. I mean, do you think that that's why certain people give it a bad name or is not as welcomed by everybody as it should be? Because now with the onslaught of so many teams, everybody's just trying to win as opposed to use this to reinforce development, if it's personal, physical, mental. I mean, do you feel as though that where it's kind of got lopsided a little bit because now there's so many teams, people care about winning?
Well, with a number of teams, okay, so if you got 8 teams, all of those teams are going to be looking to do the very best possible to make their organizations look good and be the organization people want to come to.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be on top of their game.
Yeah.
You got 100 teams. People are not going to have to be on top of their games as much because they know they can get other guys. Like I said, when I first started, if you wasn't a stud on your team, you wasn't going to play on the AAU team.
Right.
So now that anyone is coaching it and any kids can play, it becomes like we aren't holding the standards as high. Then, you got people, that just want to be mad. It's out here just want to be mad at something. They just want to be mad. Oh, I'll tell you. They can't even give you a good reason why.
Right. I
don't like AAU, but they haven't really researched it or don't just know outside stuff, man. Anybody that really does the homework on it and gets into a good program will appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
You got to look at it for what your objectives is going into it.
Absolutely.
I have a parent meeting at the beginning of the year, and I explain my objectives and answer any questions and stuff. So I'm kind of making clear what our goal is. You also got to look at what are the goals of people. Like I said, if you're just getting into it just to get recruited, then you may not like your results.
Right.
If you're getting in it just to get recruited and you don't get recruited, you're going to feel like it's a failure.
Right.
But if you get into it for the experience of getting better, playing with better kids, doing some traveling, meet some new people, playing against better kids, and hope to get recruited, if you end up with 4 out of the 6, you ain't walking away like it's a failure.
Right.
Walking away like, okay, I got better for my senior year. I may not get that scholarship now, but I'm going to get that scholarship eventually.
Yeah. And that's a great point because it's so many moving parts to development, and it's not just that whole physical part, and as you talked about, conversations that you've had with college coaches, that was kind of outside of the initial athletic ability, but not those things that you've kind of helped, that person be able to, respond as opposed to react, carry themselves a certain way, just understanding hard work, understanding being on time, just like being in shape. Just all of those things just go into that whole development mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, all of that. Now, I want to ask you.
Hey, one thing, Bailey, can I cut you off for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to jump back a little bit because I said the name was going to come to me, but the team
you got it.
With Patton was Albany City Rocks, and it was Tobias Harris.
Oh, yeah, he can play.
So Tobias Harris. So basically, during the huddle, we were winning because we shot like lights out from the 3, and at some point in the game, he started becoming grown man.
Yeah.
And so the kids getting frustrated, and I'm like, hey, man, call timeout. Hey, look, man, the man is a professional.
Yeah.
He's just not old enough to go yet.
To be there yet. Yeah.
So, 1 year Tennessee, and he's with the Orlando Magic after that. Right. Just beating them, if you're an Illinois team and you're playing against Tobias Harris and them, and this college is from Illinois down there in Florida, why wouldn't you be at the game?
Right. Yeah.
Tobias Harris.
Yeah, no, it's and sometimes you wonder, and with college coaches, that they're looking to fill a puzzle piece, at times, but at times you question, like, do they really see what other people see, and how does that look? But hey, we don't necessarily know what everybody's vision is. Sight is one thing. That whole vision, thing is something totally different.
But maybe, sometimes they ask you a question as a AAU coach. You start telling them about this kid. Well, who else is recruiting them?
Okay. Yeah.
They base their recruitment off if somebody else is
recruiting them. Yep.
I tell them all the time, you are if you like them.
And guess what? You the only one that need to be if you feel as though they can fit you, and if the student athlete and the parent feel as though it's a good fit, for them. It only take one. You don't need 20,000 offers and everything. You only need one. But now let me ask you this question, Tone. Why old gold? Like, I want you to, to brag on you for a minute. Parents that's looking for a good program for their kid, and I definitely vouch for you. I have my feelings about a lot of these teams that's not doing it the right way, but I know personally enough people that are doing it the right way and have been doing it the right way. Before a parent is looking to get their student athlete on a team, why old gold?
Like saying, Ogo's not going to be for everybody, but if you got a kid that is looking to get better, doesn't mind working hard, doesn't mind the fact that hey, we're going to be around some coaches that are good men, professionals. We got a pretty much, you won't find them for AAU team. Almost pretty much my whole coaching staff on our AAU team got their college degrees. Now you start talking about, guys are not just telling you about college.
They've done it.
Yeah, but you got guys that have been there.
Yeah.
Telling you how fun it is, telling you how, stuff will work and stuff. So you got a lot of good coaches. You got a good mixture of some older guys and some younger guys. I got my young guys that's selling me all their new clothing lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. My guy Frank, he's out. Shout out to Pillars Clothes. And then my man Banks got Fake Decent. So they got me geared all up like I'm one of the young cats. Banks still ain't brought my black and gold. But yeah, so it's a program that we're not gonna, supercharge guys. Some people look at the price we might charge, and they be like, "Oh, that's a lot." But then, they look at the schedule like, "Man, y'all doing a lot for this little bit." And the reason we're able to do that is, like I said, I hustle out there and try to raise money so we don't have to charge a crazy amount, for them to do the things that kids want to do. Hear about some programs that charging thousands of dollars and the parents still got to get them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to knock those programs and stuff like that, but I just know what we do and stuff. And we try to offer a good, quality stuff. We try to offer a good quality experience for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
Kids that we have, they enjoy the experience. They enjoy the coaches. They enjoy each other. And we have fun with it,
Yeah.
The funny thing is, some of the kids, now they're like 30, low 30s. Their funniest stories be like when, me and one of the other coaches then cursed them out. Say like they laugh about it,
Yeah.
So you got to look at it like, man, and that's what you tell the kids all the time. We're gonna push you and we're gonna be tough on you, but we're looking at young men,
right?
And you can't be soft and come play for us.
Oh no.
You can't be soft and come play for us. We want tough-minded kids or kids that's willing to be coached tough. You ain't actually be a tough kid, but as long as you're willing to be coached tough and you're willing to put everything in it and put stuff. You're going to enjoy the experience with us. We're not going to be going nowhere acting ghetto or nothing like that, embarrassing ourselves. I've had parents, we like more involvement, but, we've had parents, seeing me and Coach Ford with their kids all around the country, and we're like, we ain't even never seen you.
Right.
But, it's cool. So we take care of them. We do our best we can. And, like I said, the guys that have played for the program, we've only had one guy that played a little bit in the pros. But, we have tons and tons of guys that have made money playing ball overseas. Tons of guys that made money playing ball overseas. And so you go get your college degree and you go make some more money playing overseas. You can't ask for nothing better than that. I'm looking for that guy that's gonna make the pros. I thought the last one was going to be Derek Marks, but he like kind of messed his knee up right before the NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't really get the look he wanted. So he's been playing overseas, but we're gonna look for that next professional. We're gonna get one out of there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing too, as you said, professional don't just mean basketball players. You got a lot of, people that are professionals in their own right. I mean, Big Ralph is, I mean, he's a, prime example. I was talking to, the Big Nate, like last week, he had made a post on Facebook and, just, talking and not only from an athletic standpoint, but as you said, because having a coaching staff that have college degrees, and now most of the old gold players, especially as they get older, are more rational. Like they understand in hindsight. Okay, this made sense. Okay, well,
I'm glad you brought up Nate. Like Nate is just, I mean, people don't realize Nate is probably one of the single most dominant players ever to play in Illinois. I mean, he's
Illinois. Who we talking about?
He's the only person in no goal history I ever said, man, Nate, go for 50.
Yeah.
I mean, you just let him lose. Because he was so unstoppable. You almost had to send two people at him. But I tell the kids, he brought his kids down last year to play in our tournament and stuff. And I tell his kids, hey, man, coach might be a little overweight now, but trust me, he used to put that ball in the basket.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, seeing guys down that's giving back like Nate and, Nate's doing a fabulous job up there in Michigan.
Yeah.
And just seeing guys like Nate and Brock and all these other guys that are coaching now, that it brings a warm feeling to you, knowing that you had some effect on that. And then each team has its own personality.
Absolutely.
Own things that you remember about it. I tell our kids, all the time now as I'm giving our speech to those juniors, I'm like, what do you want your old gold legacy to be?
That's big.
You want it to be a team that I talk about 10 years from now?
Right.
Be a team that we try to forget. I mean, it's certain stories we gonna always tell, and then there's certain stories we try to forget.
Yeah. And I know you always talk about going to Florida, man. I know that y'all at times rent, you rent, houses or and do the big barbecue, so you make it a family atmosphere, and that's what I respect, I think more than anything, because it's bigger than basketball.
The thing of it is, Bailey, it's quite a few AAU programs that's doing that, man. And you only hear about the negative stuff. You only hear negative stuff, and it's just especially in our communities, in our Black communities, you always we talk about Joey got a scholarship. That's not going to travel. That's going to get retweeted and all that. But if you say Joey robbed that liquor store, man, it's 1,000 views.
Everybody gonna know it. Yeah.
We're not talking about all the good AAU programs and travel team programs that are a lot of good for these kids and stuff, and they're putting them in positions. Only thing we'll focus on is the negative parts of it. And I think that's just a problem in our community, period, where we only focus on the negative. It's like we want bad things.
Yeah.
Be able to talk about bad things instead of being able to talk about good things.
Yeah. I love that, man. Now currently, Tom, how many teams do y'all have? Or what ages do you
right now we're gonna probably have this year, and what we're scheduled to have this year was probably a 7th grade, 2 8th grade teams, a 9th grade, 10th and a junior, and then we might have had to do a mixture of 10th and juniors if we had too many kids, because there was a lot of kids, that have been contacting me wanting to play. So we're talking about 6 or 7 teams.
Okay. Now, I got a couple more questions for you, man, as we get to wrapping up. And I definitely appreciate, all of your time, because, I mean, you've really taught me, and, helped give me a different perspective of, just this whole system. But let me ask you, what's your thoughts on reclassifying?
You talking about reclassifying the whole prep school issue? You talking about?
Not like I'm saying like just say a kid might be 16 or 15. Now they reclassified. Now they playing, and I don't know how it works, but playing 14. But like
Yeah,
like,
but here's the thing. You only get 4 years of high school basketball.
right. Okay. Yep.
I mean, it's not like college where you get 5 to play 4. So when these guys classify and go because they're going out to reclassify and go out to prep school, it's a different situation. I normally say, man, unless like we had a kid, 6'9" kid last year, and it was really his first year playing organized basketball as a senior.
Okay.
But you could see the growth and the potential.
Mm-hmm.
Prep school or reclassify for him is a great idea because it gives him another year to further develop because he started late.
Okay.
But if you're a guard, you're the right age, and you just reclassifying to try to get you some additional looks, a lot of times you're defeating yourself. Because, you are what you are.
Right.
It's a difference, when a guy like just 6'7", 6'8" just started, or I'll say even this, you get some kids that have started school early and then they get to their junior, senior year and their body's not developed and you can see the growth starting to come. Okay, and then, you might consider it then. But overall, I think it's being abused and it's not used in the right situation. And, so it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm not a big opponent of it either. I don't really get into that because most of my guys don't do it. But I'm not going to speak too negatively of it.
Right.
But if it works for that family, if it works for that kid, hey, more power to you. I'm not, against it like that.
Right. Yeah. They like it. You love it. Huh? Yeah, I hear you. Now, I want to throw some names out here at you, Tone. Because I don't think, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go old school because I don't necessarily know a lot of the newer ones that have been part of the program, but I don't think that people really understand the level of talent that you've had on a consistent basis. So I'm gonna throw some names out there, man. You already talked about Nate. And you kind of talked about Ewell also, but what about a guy like Charles Parker?
Oh man, you know what? I'm glad you brought Charles up, and it shows me that you're doing things the right way because this year Charles has started bringing his son out. Who's in 7th grade to play with us. So you realize that you made a good mark on a kid if now he has his son and he says, hey, man, I want you to play for my old coach.
Right.
And, Charles is tough, grimy kid, man. And, just, he had it, man. And, you love, putting Charles out there because Charles is going to play. Charles is going to hoop.
Yeah.
Him and Brandon was two of the toughest kids, we had in the early goings.
Yeah. And, I got them by default, because I'm like, okay, with, Tone gone, I got Brandon, and I looked up and they, Charles got bumped down a little bit because, it was guard heavy on that varsity roster. So, I mean, and, we had an amazing year that year. And, you mentioned with Brandon too. What about Ralph Woodson?
Oh, Ralph.
And, it was almost like the Twin Towers. You almost couldn't mention Ralph without Vic.
Yeah, it's really good kids. Ralph, probably biggest fault was he was just too nice.
Yeah.
Nice, great kid. I mean, but he didn't realize that, man, if I just hit a couple people with these, they're going to get out of my way. I'm being score whatever I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably don't know. You probably know, but Ralph is related to Big George Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's all in that family. They're all big. Everybody family big. I hate to see them at a family reunion, boy. They'd be tearing something up. But
Yeah.
I mean, just a great kid, man. Went ahead, had a nice little career in college, and just
Yeah.
went, did his thing. I love Ralph, man. Great kid to coach.
Yep, absolutely. So Jay said, man, John L, he made a comment earlier about when you had his guys, when they came back to the season, they were tough. But what about Lamar Drake and Antonio Lofton? Because
Oh
I
man.
remember them dudes.
Oh yeah, Moscow, man. He could put the ball in the hole, man. Just fun coaching him, man. I mean, John, if you play for John L, you're already gonna be mentally tough anyway and stuff.
You
So
gotta be.
you ain't really have problems having the mental toughness and stuff. And Antonio, I mean, we had a team with Antonio, Jacquees, and that probably the best defensive team we've ever had, because between Antonio and Jacquees, they took literally 10 charges a game. So if you happen to get past them, Isaiah was 6'9", he was getting 5-6 blocks a game. So we were just a great defensive team with those guys. And Lamar was a year ahead of them, and that was a bad group we had at first, but then we kind of pieced it together, picked up some people like Lamar that strengthened and solidified, and then they end up having a real solid spring and summer. And I was just happy to have him. He had a great family, very supportive, always there. Antonio, his dad, actually helped coach with me for a long time. Matter of fact, Antonio just texted me last night, like, "Hey, coach, I'm ready to get into this coaching with Old Gold." I mean, last night he texted me, so I'm like, "Hey, I'd love to have you, dude, because I want to eventually one day just let all this go to the younger cats, watch them do it,
Man, I forgot about Big Isaiah, and I see him, he playing the pro-ams and all that. But can you talk about, man, because I don't think that Isaiah could jump rope and chew gum at the same time when you got him. And I mean, the dude is an amazing player now.
In his defense, a lot of big guys that grow early young don't necessarily be really coordinated when they first start off, and they kind of their body. And he grew into it more and more, and he worked hard and stuff. Isaiah was always mama's boy and stuff, so we had to push him, to get him tough. But he trusted us, and it did work. Had a little stretch where he had been playing very well for us, and he got tricked into going over mean streets and stuff. I ain't gonna say trick, but for a while, and we're down in Houston, and Jacob Pullen asked me, he like, man, how come Isaiah don't be balling for us like he balled for y'all? He ain't supposed to. Y'all ain't on goal, fool. So I had a bunch of people calling me because Isaiah really was miserable, wanted to come back. I had a bunch of people calling me. I said, and how kids are, they shy, and Isaiah was a real shy kid. So I called him as a coach, you got to reach out. I mean, kid left, found out it wasn't really what he thought it was going to be, and was having more fun with his friends. So I called him. He came on back, and man, that summer we had a great time. We almost beat the D1 Greyhounds with OJ Mayo and them. That literally was. We're in. You probably never been to the Milk House in Florida, man. It's remarkable. It's a remarkable arena and stuff, and it has like 6 courts, but all the decks. Everybody's coming to see OJ Mayo because I don't remember he was hot. He was the hottest things in the country at the time.
Right.
So everybody coming to see OJ Mayo, and look, man, we was playing so hard that everybody that was coming to see him start rooting for us.
Wow.
We was in the ass, and referees kind of gave us a bum one because Zaya came down the middle, dunked on their whole team, kind of hung on the rim a little bit, and they gave him a tech. Oh man, kind of broke our momentum a little bit, but we ended up losing by 3 or 4, But same year we beat the Gauchos. They walked off without even shaking our hands because But I mean, that was a great team. Like I said, we had guys that took charges, played defense.
Right.
Kids more, Jeremy Arrington. We had Caleb Harris. We called him Hot Sauce from De La Salle. He was De La Salle. We had some guys down there.
What about Stephon Hanna?
Man, I love to hate. No, Steph was one of my first players, man. And Stephon is to this day just I love Steph, man, and Steph is, always been Stephon, man. He's one of the most relentless scorers I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Put the ball in the basket with the best of them.
Yeah.
Best of them. We had that group, and we literally their sophomore year didn't lose to a team in Illinois AAU.
Mm.
Jump shoot teams, all that. We didn't lose to none of them in Illinois. Beat the Wolves. We didn't lose to nobody in Illinois. That sophomore year, and Steph was a big part of that. I tell the story all the time. Steph had made me mad and stuff down in Florida. He broke one of the team's rules. We ain't gonna go into all that on TV.
Right.
So it's our first time at nationals, and they freshmen. So don't nobody know us. We don't know nobody. So we playing a team from Tennessee, and I set Steph out the first half.
Okay.
Team rules. So we're up 3 at halftime. So Bailey, how if you're a team you ain't never seen this team before, you're trying to make your adjustments at halftime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't adjust for the fact that Steph came out and scored 20 points in the third quarter.
Right.
He hit 6 threes in the third quarter, man. We went from being up 3 to up 30.
Wow.
And the coach after the game like, man, where did that kid come from? Oh no, he had broke team rules.
Yeah, he was on the bench.
No, Steph can turn the game out real quick. And,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember when I really found out how much he loved basketball. Like practice was over, and he was waiting on like the coaches to get in the locker room talking, and we came out, and that dude is like sleep at the top of the bleachers in the bleachers, and like he was waiting on a ride to go to the park district. You know what I'm saying? He was waiting on a ride to go over there.
And stuff,
yeah, to go on 83rd and keep playing. Like, man, we've been practicing for 2.5 hours, but that's when I knew, that he had something special. So, Marvin Williams want to know, like, how do you balance being a high school coach and running the AAU program, to remain successful on both ends?
Well, one of the things is, and that's why I've never had a problem being a assistant coach or a sophomore coach on the high school level, because, running a whole AAU program, especially one that's just got as big as ours, is just a lot of time and effort. And, so being able to take a back role, during high school, that's not been a problem for me. I'm kind of a humble guy in the sense that, I'm not going to, try to step on the varsity, all that stuff. So it's tough, man. And I be tired. And actually, like this lockdown, the first couple of weeks, I like, shit, I might have actually needed this.
Right.
I might have actually needed this just to get me some, sit down time, man. I'm looking at parts of my house I ain't never even seen. I'm like, but so it takes some, getting it takes some management and stuff. It's hard being a head coach and a head of your program.
Mm-hmm.
I try to make it as easy as possible for my coaches so that they don't have to do a lot of the paperwork stuff and they can just coach. That's what I'm saying. That's the big part of it. The organization, the travel schedule, making sure you're going places. That's a big part of it. When you got somebody that can take care of that and you just got to practice and coach, it's a lot easier. So it's tough on me because I'm the person that has to do that for all of our teams. And, so I've had him, but it's my program. So, I mean, if it fails, it comes back on me. So I just got to make sure that I do what it takes to not let it fail.
Right.
I got to sacrifice. Sometimes I want to go out and, I can't because I got to make sure that, everything is straight for in the morning, when we're supposed to leave. Even if my leave, and I got to make sure that my 8th graders are where they're supposed to be or my freshmen are where they're supposed to be. So it's tough balancing both in between. And, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. At times I've struggled with it, but, a lot of usually try to take August as like a chill out month for me. Like I ain't doing nothing with basketball other than going hooping myself or something like that. Try to chill out month for me because between the time of the high school season and AAU, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? Actually, as high school season's ending, you got to be making preparations for your first few tournaments and your fundraisers and all that type of stuff. So there's really no break between high school and the AAU for me. But
Yeah. Hell, is I mean, it's almost like you a pro, playing in the championship, and then you go play in the Olympics, and then you come right back, and it's time to play, all over again. Ralph say
I'm really sorry, draw one of them crazy
phrases.
Man, you can't just do that, man. You just gotta be in the moment and stuff, man. You gotta be in the moment. You just can't come up off of it, man.
It's all teachable moments, man. And you know
that's the thing I say. Those type of things that I said at the time, the kids all mad about it, all in their feelings about, but then 10 years later, it's funny to them. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and to Ralph's point, man, I remember, and I don't know how you phrased it, but it was fun. Like you were mad, but it was funny the way you said. I never forget, man. I don't know if we was playing Robeson or South Shore, back when South Shore was in the red, and the sophomore team, man, and y'all was like, Victor never takes the ball out. And Victor took the ball out underneath the basket and tried to throw it down court, and the ball hit the backboard and went out of bounds. And like, I don't know what you said to him from the bench across, but it was like you were so heated, but it was so funny. And so to Ralph's point, but it was like it was just the spur of the moment. So I mean, that's I mean, what it is, man. That was, but that's
you're around. You said you're around.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's just building those relationships with those guys, and I think that that goes a long way with why your program has been so successful, with it. But definitely, before we go, and I definitely appreciate your time, Tone. But I definitely want to say that those individuals, I'm gonna drop the link, all the things that things that Tone's been talking about, things that I talk about each and every episode on this show. Again, it was birthed from this book, just understanding life through the game of basketball, and that's bigger than just the ball bouncing or getting a scholarship, but later on in life, how can you use these same principles about that help you or help athletes learn how to be a better player, a better leader. It goes hand in hand with life. And so this is the first book, very easy read. The second book, Tone, that I did, Creating the Perfect Storm, as you said, Brock come hit 26 or whatever. Steph hit 20 in one quarter. It's like athletes get in the zone, and oftentimes they don't know how to explain it, but those athletes do something, have seen something, or something has been said to them. We always talk about like locker room talk too, but certain athletes can manufacture a certain mindset to get them going. Other athletes may need somebody like Tone or somebody like Coach Janelle, somebody like me to get under their skin to get them going. But the great athletes can manufacture it at any point in time. And this book, explains how to manufacture it, if it's, through meditation, through visualization, just all of those things, like putting yourself in the moment before that moment even happens. So now, once that moment happens, it's almost like clockwork because athletes are so used to doing it. So, I have both books, both books come in a bundle. It's a great bundle attached with the first 2 seasons of this show. That we're on season 4 now, but so many great guests like Coach Wiltz that teach the game, not just let athletes play the game, but teach the game. So in the bundle, you get both books as well as the first 2 seasons of the show, and it's a great personal development, skill development, way to just learn basketball beyond the physical part. Because, as Tone said, it used to be you had to be able to play in order to be able to, you had to be good to play for some of these teams. Nowadays, you get so many people think they're entitled because their parents can afford it, but the parents aren't really taking the time to help their athletes get what's necessary so that they can become developed more fit mentally than physically. So when they get to somebody like Coach Wiltz, they're able to now develop themselves, physically and, or organically as well. So, y'all go and pick up, the bundle. We got Jeremiah, in, man. And yeah, you definitely gonna have to watch this one, Jay. Man, we talk about it all the time. You remember Tone.
Talking about a dude springing up in height.
Man, and got swole up a little bit, with that. Tone, before we go, man, we talked about Coach Sanders. And I'm gonna get Jay on the show too. But again, it was just certain people that we always talked. Can you talk about David Keys, man? I know how much Keys meant to you. Keys meant, a lot to me. And I mean, we used to all be at work and on three ways. Keys was driving if he on the road or whatever. But, man, I always hear rotation. But, talk about just having tough teams and tough people. I know D-Ice, have the DK elite, David Keys elite and all that. But can you talk about Coach David Keys, man, if you will?
Oh, man, he was a great friend, man. It saddened me when he started getting sick and stuff, and I'd be talking to him on the phone, and it would just bring me down. So then I'd have to try to mask that to try to, try to tell him a joke or something, say something that's funny to try to get him to laugh. But, as we start getting older and start losing our friends, you even start to reevaluate basketball and start to say, man, you got to treasure these moments as they come because speaking of that, man, my phone's been blowing up. I've been kind of one of our guys, Coach Newby, I guess he passed today. So when I get off this, I'm going to have to, find out all the information. But it's, I start getting those calls right before the broadcast. And the guy that his son played for me, then played for King. Wasn't a great player, just an okay player, but great family, great kid, and had a lot of fun. And I know all the kids that played with them are gonna miss him. His wife's gonna miss him, and so just even you just start to realize, man, you just never know, when this is gonna end. So you want to make sure that you giving it the best and you having fun. And I tell coaches all the time, I've coached with guys and be like, man, Skip that. I don't like that coach, man. I'm trying not to be like that at all.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend no negative energy on nobody.
Yeah.
Waking up one day dead and I'm mad. What am I mad about? You know what I'm saying? So I try not to spend no negative energy on people. And we just got to do that. And David Keys is one of those guys, man. And, just, love having conversations with him. And he talks so much trash. We'd have so much fun talking trash.
Yeah.
He called me about what kind of defense he going to put on somebody and what they going to do. They ain't going to be able to, man. Oh, man, and stuff. And then, when he get into his tangents about this, I talk him down like, no, man, it's cool. That's all right. You got to woo. Then if I get, upset about something, he calm me down. So you need that in coaching. Some guys you can call where you feeling, whether it's from the kids, the parents, or something like that, you feeling a little frustrated that, they understand what you're talking about because they're doing the same thing, but they can kind of, give you some insight and stuff and talk to you and put some good things out there where, you feeling a little bit better after you get off the phone with him. He was always the guy that did that for me. Coach Sanders was always the guy that did that for me. So when you start losing guys like that and, Newbie today, it's tough. But, like I tell the kids, you got to move on in life. You don't ever forget those guys, but, use them as inspiration to try to even be better with what you do.
Right. Yeah. No. And, like I told you, man, if we had to push this back, we was getting ready to go on when, your phone started ringing and, because, again, it's bigger than basketball, and even though this is, another contribution, another way that I'm contributing to the game that we love. But, it's bigger than that. Is, when you start to build relationships with people, that matters more than, and as you said, you can't put yourself above the game, or just, above people. You have to understand that, as you said, with Coach Sanders or Coach Keys, like, they were guys that, would always, kind of make you feel better when you talk to them. And, as I said at the start of the show, that's what you always did for me, like, hey, we can tell, and I can bounce things off you, and you will listen, but not only people that will listen, but you also need people that kind of set you straight too. A couple of times you're like, no, Bailey, you can't do that. Or, no, you shouldn't, respond that way. Or, well, if I was you, and even like games, it used to be like, well, I was watching, I was in the crowd scouting you, and what I would have did, what I'm saying? But you just need people that's going to, be able to tell you the truth, man. But, but I wouldn't, I couldn't have a show speaking to you without talking about, Coach Sanders and Coach Keys, because it was we, we rocked together, and that's how it was, and I don't want to, get, the show on a somber note, but you just have to, pay, respect to those people that kind of helped you become, part of who you are in this whole coaching game, and people that really, really cared about kids. Like, I think that's the biggest thing, people that really, really cared about kids. And so, I take, from, my family, I don't know Coach Newby, but, me and my family send our condolences out, to, his family and, the whole Old Gold family, from that, man. And, I just take my hat off to you that you've been able to be somebody that can like stand tall, stand firm, tell people what they need to hear, as well as tell people sometime, what they may want to hear in terms of, encouragement. So, I take my hat off, to you definitely for that, man.
And yeah, I'd like to thank you for bringing me on here, Bailey. You've had some
Yeah,
good.
because you don't normally talk a lot, Tone. You people that know, but you don't pop out like this. So, but go
Yeah, yeah. I'm still struggling with this whole social media stuff. Every once in a while, I make a post, and people like, "Oh, he posted something." Yeah, but I'm just, I think you're doing a great job here with this, and you're getting some guys on here that people have been listening to, want to hear, and getting some good information from. So hey, I enjoyed being on here, man, and I say thanks for bringing me on, and I know we're gonna be talking later on in the week and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm just glad I have to get both your books, man, and see what's going on with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, please do. I got, the link right there. Y'all go and, grab a book bundle, and also, got some unrecruited or under recruited, student athletes. You can put them, with Old Gold, but also, if you need somebody, because I don't do scout and recruiting services. We literally still coach the athletes, because they got to know what's happening up here to be able to know what they need to do down here. But before we go, Tone, I want to put you on a hot seat, man. And I just asked a couple quick questions to get you bouncing around. And because you have been around, I want to start off with the first question, man. I'm gonna come out the box with it. Who's the best player, not Old Gold, that you've had to coach against in the spring or the summertime? Like who's in all your years, who's the best player that you've had to coach against in the spring or summer?
You mean as head coach or as any coach?
As spring or summer league coach, as an Old Gold coach.
As Old Gold, that one's there tough, man. That one there's tough. Maybe OJ Mayo.
Oh, okay.
Maybe OJ Mayo. Yeah,
Okay.
he was really very good at the time. Yeah, he was really very good at the time. But Tobias Harris was pretty good too.
Okay. But now this was before OJ teamed up with D Rose and them?
Yeah,
Okay.
He played for the Greyhounds. No, OJ never teamed up with him. That was Eric Gordon that teamed up.
Oh, Eric Gordon, right? Okay.
Gordon that teamed up with you.
Okay. Okay. So you say Tobias Harris or OJ Mayo. Okay.
Or hold on. Or Josh Smith.
Or Josh Smith. Okay. Best coaching experience on any level.
I like to do high school and AAU.
Okay.
Separate. I think at CBS the best coaching experience I had when we had that year with Hollis and Hollis was a junior and Gerald and Turtle was seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great experience because them guys were talented, but they weren't those names, and they were hungry.
Right.
Hungry. I mean, like literally, we beat Simeon at their crib that year. I don't even know if Rob and them had lost on their home court in the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally, came in there and no one knew who Hollis was, knew who a lot of these guys were, and it was just satisfying that year with how those guys played and how those guys reacted. I was a little disappointed at the end because Gerald basically damn near broke his hand. He was our floor general. And so when we played with Young, he didn't play well, just because, he's trying to play with a fractured hand, not making excuses because they had a really good team. But
right.
It just, you always wonder, okay, would it have been different if, he was full tilt,
Right.
I think that was the greatest experience with that group. AAU, it might have been coaching Derek Marks and Ryan Jackson them that year. Derek came into the summer with a couple offers and probably left with 20 D1 offers.
Wow.
I mean, he ended up going to Boise State because my man Sean Vanderveer had been on him for a while, and I went to every game. I mean, actually, it was one point, and during tournament, Derek was just murdering one team, and it's just like tons of college coaches sitting there looking. And Sean comes at halftime. He's like, man, can you sit him down or something like that? What you talking about, big dog? He said, I was cool recruiting against some of these guys, but it's a major player starting to open up the books.
Yeah.
Major players start opening up the books. My God, man. It's
shout out to Sean Vanderbilt, my man.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a great group because my guy Coach Piggott at the beginning of the summer, he was like, he didn't think Derek and Ryan would be able to play together because they both wanted the ball so much.
Right.
I said, man, let me tell you something, man. Both of them guys love to win.
Yeah.
So they're gonna make it work.
They're gonna make it work, which is more important.
They became so great and stuff, man, together. And I mean, it was just we were beating the fire before things got out of hand up there, and I mean, we just had a good group there, and they had a great summer. We were actually down in Florida, and Ryan had hurt his knee in one of the games, and so we lost one of the games. And he came and told me, and his mom and them down there now. They down in Florida with us.
Okay.
Hey, coach, I'm playing next game. Just don't tell my mama.
Like how that's gonna happen.
Now, I don't know how you think this gonna work, but your mom out here, man.
Right.
So, his mom came. She's like, Coach, he already got his scholarship offer. I don't know why he wouldn't play. I said, I think they didn't grown so close together. I think it's beyond that. I think he sees his friends and his buddy out there that need him, and I don't think he's thinking about scholarship right now. I think he's thinking about going to war with his guys.
Yeah.
He came back, and we won our next 8 games. Won the silver championship in the showcase. Then went on to nationals. So we just had a great run with that group. Great parents. We had Big Ray Sean. He was, McGrew that played with us over at CBS. Xbox from over in Bogan. We had some good players. And it just was a fun year because it was a fun group to coach and they worked hard. So that was probably my most successful year. And like I said, the year with Hollis and them when they were juniors, that was probably my best year there.
Okay, now I'm gonna go side tilt, man, for my last question. And I think I'm gonna make you laugh with this one. And a lot of people, may not know, what you do, just as a profession, but in your hobby, in your spare time, generally around Christmas, you kind of pick up another hobby. So, what's your greatest story as a substitute teacher?
There you go, man. No, man, I ain't substitute. Actually, man, I ain't substituted in so long, man. It's been a while. I used to get it, but my schedule just don't allow for it.
Okay.
I schedule don't allow for it. But when I was substitute, man, I was out at Thornridge substitute that but they started fighting. I'm like, well, I'll be a nice school. Why y'all fighting in here and stuff? So trying to bring it all up and stuff. But I mean that was a major thing. So I haven't substituted in a long time. But yeah, he be a little bit crazy and stuff. They try to treat substitute teachers and stuff.
Yeah. No, man, I remember you used to call me sometime, and even when you was at CVS, like, man, they surprised I'm in here so early. The kids like, whatever. So yeah, I just thought that I, throw it out there. Now I don't think you're gonna ask this question, but for those that's watching, I know that they want to know who's the best old goal player you ever coached. Now you can.
You trying to get me in trouble, ain't you? You trying to get me in trouble, ain't you?
Okay. Well, who's the toughest? All right, let me change. Now,
I'll say this. It's very difficult because they all did different things, but I'd say the top three was Stefan, Hannah, Calvin Brock, and Derek Marks. Top three. And they always games were a little different. Steph, like I said, he was a scoring machine. Brock was high energy, and Derek pretty much did it all. If Derek and them played, I want to say Colorado State when he was at Boise. He had like 33 in the second half on Colorado State. So they were all very successful and stuff. But all three of those, because one of the things is they was kind of like, especially Stefan and Brock, they were kind of like how Jordan said, they never had an off button.
Right.
Every once in a while, I'd have to, chew Derek out to get him going. But once you get him going, he going. Stefan and Calvin, you really didn't have to. They were always going. They were always going, And I mean, that year they were seniors. I think both of them were like candidates for, Mr. Basketball in Chicago. Remember? Calvin ended up getting it, but I think Steph, between Calvin, Steph, and Tom.
Okay, yeah. No, and that's a great company. Trio. Yeah.
That's a good company.
Yeah.
Tom was something else.
Yeah. No, that's a great trio, man. That's a great trio. Well, Tone, man, I definitely appreciate the time.
Man, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, been going 3 hours strong, man. I'm gonna let you, kind of get, back to, do some of the things that, you need to do, around there, some of those phone calls get back. But, definitely, is there any way, and, hopefully, we, hopefully outside open back up and it's more healthy, but, even if it doesn't happen this year, but, you do a lot of things with Old Gold. Is there any way that, a parent that may have a kid that they, feel that can play for you, would like their kid to be part of what you represent? Is there any way for them to contact you?
Yeah. Well, definitely. We got our website, www.oldgoldbasketball.com.
Okay.
And basically, you go on there, you got my contact information, you got all the information about the program and everything. So, yep, oldgoldbasketball.com.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
and my contact information on there, and it has like our email address and everything, so they can send emails to us right from the website.
Yeah.
And try to answer them as quick as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, y'all definitely reach out, to Tone, you heard, what type of person he is, also heard what, great basketball mind he is. And, I've always said, and, I think I mentioned it to Tone once, I said, if I got the right college job, I know who I'm calling, to kind of put the band back, together, so to speak. But, Tone is definitely an asset to any program that he's been associated with, that he will be, associated with. So, hopefully y'all learned a little bit more about, Mr. Old Gold, as they call him. They run, they press, they trap. And you just got to deal with it, man. You just got to deal with it. But yeah, Tone, I definitely appreciate it, man. And as I always, and I appreciate you guys for watching, tuning in, staying with us, being, involved, asking questions, participating. That's what makes this show, more of a personal and professional development, because people really come here to learn first and then get educated second. And so, that means that we have done our job. And so, I'm definitely happy and definitely proud of that. So as I always say in closing, man, y'all keep striving for the top, because it is crowded as hell at the bottom. So until next time, for myself, Antonio Wiltz, Coach Tone, we appreciate y'all for checking in. Go check out oldgoldbasketball.com. And don't forget to pick up your book bundle, bit.ly/bit.ly/B2BSD Performance. Go pick up your book bundle, get the 2 seasons as well as the 2 books. And till next time, we out. Peace. I appreciate you, my brother. Yes, sir. Peace.